Did you eat yet?
Yeah.
What'd you have?
Everything.
Was it good?
Yeah. Tiramisu. Not bad.
Tiramisu? You went hard on the tiramisu?
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lightweight main event, same thing.
It's real nice.
What's that?
The tiramisu, it's a lightweight main event.
Yeah, there you go. Have you dummied a few pieces of that stuff too?
So Dave, back.
Hold on.
Aaron, you're in my shot.
I'll be out of it very soon. Okay.
We met a camera he didn't like.
Okay, I'll figure this out. Sorry.
That's all right.
I gotta get away.
I'll be over here.
Okay. Let's see if UFC mic on the top. We're good.
Never good at Tetris. Never good at Tetris.
Did I ruin yours?
He's even just tilted so it's pointing a little bit. That's still one at the back there.
Oh, it's still one. Okay, there you go.
Really janky one thing.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming.
No worries. So Vancouver, fifth trip here. Can
Yeah.
you just talk about how the ticket sales and relative to your expectations?
Yeah, I mean we've been really thrilled. Right out of the gates, ticket sales started going hard. We have continued to open up sections over the last few weeks, which should imply we're sort of trending towards a sellout. I think we're down to only $75 and $85 tickets left. So if you want to get in the building, everything on the floor and lower bowl is sold. In a certain sense, we're not surprised, right? Like this is a fight. Remember when it was announced, it seemed like every account, everyone who has any association with mixed martial arts was like, man, we got to see this fight. So nice to bring it to Vancouver. It's always great to have these type of events to not necessarily re-engage a city, but just provide something that's amazing, right? Vancouver's been on our map for a long, long time, since 115. I mean, Chuck Franklin, and then we went on sale with Lesnar, and Carwin ended up being JDS and Carwin. We've had a long history of really solid events here in Vancouver, and so we're excited to deliver this one.
You talk about re-engaging the market. Montreal's market public needs to be re-engaged. Is that something that is on your radar?
Yeah, I mean Montreal's on the radar every single year. It's really tough. It may sound like a bit of a broken record, but in Canada, especially with the NBA and the NHL, it's hard to find weekends during our season or during the year that makes sense for us. Love to get back to Montreal, absolutely, and it's got nothing to do with the scuttlebutt recently of Khabib and GSP. This is us every year trying to get back at the right time of year to be in Montreal. Summer's tough across Canada. I mean, we work extra hard to make sure we're getting the awareness out on events, that we're promoting and selling the tickets for all the summer events, because everyone goes on holidays. I mean, that's sort of how it works. But we've got a real treat this weekend, and we're really excited about it.
When you say from you to GSP,
Yeah, I was going to ask. It sounds like this year you guys might break your ticket sale total for like a calendar year. And events like this, not a title fight and anything, and then you look at New York, you're not having a title fight there. What does that say about like the state of the sport, that you can sell out venues with these type of fights that aren't championship bouts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's something that we've been invested in and supportive of for a long time. You guys know how it works, right? You go through different stages, and all of a sudden, like Masvidal has percolated up to the top, justifiably so, and for good reason. And it's that fight that if you asked Masvidal what he wanted, prior to his last two fights, guarantee he wouldn't have said Diaz. And so all of a sudden, this has come together at the right time. Dana and Hunter and Sean and Mick were able to pull that thing together, and it's great timing because you want that type of event for somewhere as special as the Garden.
You talked about Montreal. What about Toronto? It seems with the trend, it's you skip 1 year and then come back the next year. Do you think you'll be back in Toronto next year?
Yeah, we're aiming to. I mean, we'd love to be. The cadence thus far in the last, say, 6 or 7 years has been once every 2 years, which we think is appropriate. I mean, we want to make sure that we're getting to as many places across the country here as we can. So you looked at 2020, and maybe we're back in the Maritimes, Atlantic Canada. We haven't been to, we were in Winnipeg last year, I think, in December. 2017. Yeah. So, getting back to sort of central Canada, whether it's Saskatchewan or Manitoba, we're not sure yet, but we want to make sure we are, delivering quality events across the country, and we're going to continue to have 3 total events in Canada, and so that definitely limits us, but it gives us an opportunity to come back with, you know, a market that's thirsting for it.
Do you have Victoria ever been considered as a fight market?
Sorry, Victoria?
Yeah, Victoria, just because it is a pretty big fight community. There's a couple notable gyms out there. Rise FC just had their show there.
Yeah.
Is that something you guys have looked at maybe for like a fight night card?
And that's where Tristan Connolly came from, right?
Well, we're from there, and he fought there last July.
Yeah, I mean, on the radar, I mean, we've got to be smart about these types of things. You know, I think we need to have the proper venue, right? Because we want to be, if you're in Canada, you got to be in a, you know, a solid hockey rink that can go 10, 12, 14, or 16,000 or more people. And you've also got a number of cities that are close to Victoria that, you know, can host these events. So I think for us, you know, we've kind of pinpointed certain places across the country that we know we can draw from the surrounding areas, and quite frankly, that's why we're here in Vancouver.
Do you have any new markets that are on the radar that you're considering?
Yeah, a few. Probably a bit premature to talk about those publicly. We've tested out in Canada, you know, since I guess we started in 2008 with events in Canada, a variety of different cities, and most have worked. Most, if not all, have worked. I think now we're probably at the point where we're getting back to cities that, you know we can work well with, that can draw from surrounding areas. There definitely are sort of 3 or 4 other cities we're considering, but, you know, nothing that we can share publicly yet.
As the international side of things grows with, you know, more shows in China, more shows in Russia, I know you said 3 is still the plan for Canada. Is the intent to stay with the same number of shows overall, or is there a possibility the shows per year grow?
No, we will generally stay with the same number of shows overall. We're going to head into 2020 with 42 events on the schedule, with 12 pay-per-views on the schedule. So the distribution will be pretty similar to what it is right now. I don't see anything changing. You know, it may kind of vacillate, you know, up or down one event, but I think for the time being, 40 to 42 is the number we're going with.
David, at Ottawa, you mentioned that you wanted to make this Vancouver event happen. How quickly did that all come together after Ottawa, or was it already in motion?
Well, we had Vancouver on the radar. I'm not sure at what point last spring we had sort of confirmed and booked the venue, but, you know, we had been in discussions with Rogers Arena for some time. You know, as kind of the fights progress over the course of the year, you get greater clarity on what type of event you can bring to the city. We're always trying to pinpoint which athletes are going to work well for that city. And that's, you know, I know an obvious statement, but, you know, we're trying to balance who's available and who, you know, would make sense for that market based on, you know, culture and language and history and all those types of things. So I wouldn't say Vancouver came together quickly. We'd been planning to come here for a while. It's just nice that, you know, post-Ottawa, post-Chicago, now all of a sudden you've got Cowboy available and he can come in and, you know, do the dance with Gaethje.
Speaking of athletes working well, you know, last time Max Holloway fought up in Canada, we were kind of asking him, did he think he was the biggest Canadian star now, even though he's not from Canada? You know, as far as you know, who is kind of the most popular fighter up here? Is it him? Is it Cowboy? He's came up in Ottawa again. Valentina Shevchenko's fought here a couple of times. You know, by whatever metrics you guys use, who's drawing up here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best place to look, I think the best place to start is, you know, looking how the pay-per-views do overall, or the general sort of magnitude of the event. I mean, you know, you can take certain athletes that we've got, like John Jones, like Connor, you know, like Holloway, and wherever they go, they do well. And so it's nice that he's embraced the sort of Canadiana element of it. You know, there's connection points with him and our country for many years. You know, I think that there's a situation where, you know, we are trying to we're trying to bring athletes that we know will have a long runway in Canada and resonate well with the population here. But when it comes down to it, it almost doesn't matter. People just want to see a highly competitive event. You know, if we've got a mismatch, we've got a fight that just doesn't make sense, you know, our fans realize that, right? Like, our fans are, you know, scrutinizing and intelligent and really discerning when it comes to the authenticity of our events. And that's why it almost doesn't matter. You just gotta have a good matchup. And so we're pretty lucky these days in the way that some of the athletes are progressing through the ranks.
I know you weren't in Abu Dhabi, but that was seemingly a pretty successful event.
Yeah.
What have the conversations been about, you know, the future years of that deal? Like, what changes are you going to make? Those kind of things? Well,
it's, I mean, pretty high bar to set, right? You know, take Khabib to Abu Dhabi. First and foremost, you know, the event was groundbreaking. It really was. I mean, we saw a glimpse into what we have always sort of, you know, aspired to be this, you know, truly global sport that transcends language and culture and religion. And though we've seen glimpses of it, I don't think we've seen it to this level, this magnitude, as we did this past weekend. And I'll give you a good example. I'm not sure if I've talked to any of you guys about this in the last week or so, but looking at some of the free fights and not how they performed, because the numbers were staggering, like in line with UFC 229, which we expected, and we're glad that it actually turned out that way. But it was the distribution, it was where people were watching these things. And when you go through kind of the top 10 list of where people are watching a standard free fight, because we release these free fights in advance of every big event, and it's the normal kind of like US, Canada, Australia, UK, et cetera, et cetera. In the lead up to 242, it was obviously the US, but proportionally it was much smaller. And then it was, India and Indonesia and Malaysia. And so all the Muslim community was coming out to support and watch Khabib. Now, we obviously aren't able and have not transacted those people. If they're in those countries, they're watching either on free-to-air or they're watching pay TV or maybe some sort of digital service. But this to us was just a clear indication that there are millions and millions of people around the world that love the sport and connect with different athletes. And I think when it leads into next year's event in Abu Dhabi, maybe we have Khabib, maybe not. I'm not sure what the case is going to be, but I think this year really made an impact.
When you say the numbers were in line with UFC 229,
yeah.
Do you mean from a pay-per-view standpoint or just overall viewership?
No, I'm talking like my example to Mike was just overall viewership. I mean, we were tracking a variety of different metrics around the world, and I brought up the example of the YouTube free fights because they're accessible to everyone, and YouTube is virtually everywhere. But if you're in China and you're on Weibo or Douyin or you're on TikTok or you're a variety of different platforms, we were just seeing astronomical numbers that were in line with what we saw with UFC 229.
And just to circle back to what you said earlier, you mentioned the scuttlebutt of GSP and Khabib.
Yeah.
Is that a fight that could potentially happen? And would Montreal be a market where you'd want to bring that if GSP does come back for a one-night only type deal?
How's the Olympic Stadium doing these days?
That's what I was going to say. Is the Olympic Stadium able to?
I don't know. I mean, to your first question, definitely more of a Dana question. I'm not sure what those guys have in store. It's something that has obviously, it's something that's obviously on the radar. I think for a lot of people, it'd be cool if that fight could make sense. But there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't make sense. So I think where we are right now is sort of seeing. I think Khabib was pretty vocal about getting some rest and sitting back and trying to think of the next couple of fights in his career. So really don't really have an answer on that other than, as a good Canadian, I'd love to see that fight.
Would it also be, if you could see that fight happening, do you think it could happen in Montreal, or is Abu Dhabi potentially the place that they try and book that fight?
No, I mean, listen, it could happen in a variety of different places, but, one thing's clear is you need a big arena, which Montreal has. If that fight would ever to come together, maybe it's a stadium fight, who knows? But I think we're kind of going down a path of pure sort of hyperbole right now. But we'll see what Dana has got in store.
One thing we talked about afterwards was potentially doing a fight in Africa to raise money for different African countries like Somalia, Sudan, or among the ones you mentioned. Dustin Poirier gives a lot of money to charitable causes. Yeah. That must be nice for this promotion to see the fighters getting so involved with philanthropy. Is that something that the UFC wants to help steer more fighters into that direction? Because I think it's a really positive look for the organization and for the fighters themselves. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think when it comes to our participation, I mean, we are always around to provide tools and education and support for athletes in whatever area of their careers they would like some support in. I mean, it's kind of one of the founding principles of the performance institutes. But when it comes to media training, social media help, working on one's personal brand, these are tools and services that we're always available to provide. When it comes to the philanthropic side of it, it's not something. Everyone's got kind of their own cause and their own purpose, and we think that's great, and we respect all of it. We'd love to continue to see more of it. It's nice when our athletes are using their platform to raise money for a good cause, especially when it comes down to some of the causes that both Khabib and Poirier were talking about. The Africa conversation is an interesting one because of now the rise to the top of Ngannou and Usman and obviously Adesanya and a variety of others. So the time I don't think has ever been as kind of ripe as it is right now. But there's a litany of challenges that we'd have try to put on an event in Africa, depending on lots of different countries. And I think the first look we probably have is to South Africa because of the importance of our broadcast relationship.
there with Supersport. But the possibilities are definitely on the list right now.
Talking about fighters connecting with demographics and your YouTube viewership and everything. Weili Zhang, obviously big news, Chinese champion, the first UFC Chinese champion. Vancouver's got a huge Chinese population. Canada does as well. Obviously the States. Is the intent to have her continue competing in China, or do you want to see her fight in some of the other markets where she'd have a big following?
It's a really good question, and I think it's something that's being kicked around right now. I haven't spoken to any other guys about the next steps for her, though. Winning so quickly, we'd love to have her back soon. I think there's a real argument to have her fight in China. I mean, this is the kind of strike while the iron's hot type of concept where, the numbers that she was putting up and the response that we got from not only the mixed martial arts community, but the community as a whole has been unlike anything we've ever seen before. To the extent that, we've got a real opportunity to take her back a few more times, and you you help her, you facilitate that rise, that growth to a Yao Ming type of status, which, this is new territory for us. And so we're trying to figure out that game plan. At the same time, nothing can give a fighter, more exposure than getting them on a big pay-per-view card that probably is in North America. So I'm not sure what Dana's plans are yet, but we've got a problem that you like to have on your hands when it comes to her next steps.
You mentioned these metrics from China for Zhang Weili
Mm-hmm.
and all the potential there. How much of that market is dependent on her success?
Well, I think this is just the start. I mean, what I think was largely not undocumented, but certainly didn't get the same attention as she got, was the fact that we had, 2 athletes that had come from the Shanghai Performance Institute that won on the card, right? And the Shanghai Performance Institute's only been open since June. And when we sat down a year ago, I think we were talking about this, we sort of laid out, okay, what's the 5-year plan for the China business? And we wanted to have a Chinese athlete champion, I should say, by, year 3 or something like that. And it really happened within kind of 9 months. But now we've got the tools, we've got the framework to help foster and cultivate the talent in China and indeed North Asia. I mean, now all of a sudden you've got this facility that everyone through China and Japan and Korea and a few other places can come and train at. I think this is just going to pave the way to a variety of other contenders and people who are getting involved successfully in the UFC, and that we're thrilled about because we're in it for the long run there. I mean, I think that we've made the investment in the country. We've got great broadcast relationships, both on the public side with the state broadcasters as well as PPTV and a few others. And I think this is just the kind of first chapter of a long, long game.
Are there any challenges to continuing in that market that everyone may not know about sort of from the outside?
Not particularly. I mean, I think, it took a few events to kind of get our feet wet and understand how we work with local officials and how our operations work. But nothing that's insurmountable. I mean, I think we're on a pretty good pace right now. So we'll probably end up being in China a couple times next year. And then, listen, we've got this amazing facility, and you see what we're doing with the Apex in Las Vegas and hosting Contender Series. We're batting around a number of different concepts for the Performance Institute in Shanghai, hosting local events, producing localized content. I mean, this is just the start.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks very much. See you.
We got Cowboy right here for you.
Everybody ready? Yep. So Cowboy, another day closer to hitting the scales. How are we feeling?
Like shit. I wouldn't mind fucking a hamburger up right now. Tomorrow we'll get it done.
Your nutritionist, the person you work with to help cut your weight, she's actually Canadian. Can you just talk about that relationship? Because you've been working with Sheriff for a couple fights now.
Yeah, she, my nutritionist, sports and conditioning, and also helps, cook all my meals and prepare everything, which is super convenient because I just get to wake up in the morning and have the food ready. So takes the hard brain work out before me. I just eat what I'm supposed to and go train. So it's good, man. She's a solid lady. I really enjoy working with her.
At what point in your career did you start looking at getting a nutritionist on board? Because I imagine early on you were probably just winging it.
Super winging it. Like the hardest way you could ever even today, I'd rather eat like a handful of Snickers or a handful of chicken. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Snickers. Like, you know, it's just making those bad decisions. But it's a lot easier getting my weight down sooner, right? I mean, for me, the last 5 pounds is brutal, no matter how I come into it. But you know, I'm 9 pounds off right now. I'll do 4 tonight, 5 tomorrow, and those 5 tomorrow, I'll be crawling into the scale. So it's just, there's no way around it. Until they get the 65 weight class, I'd be pretty stoked on that. I'd be right on weight right now, ready to go.
Are you amazed they haven't done that yet? Because, I mean, they're about to do a BMF belt before they do a 165-pound belt.
I don't know why they don't 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85. You know, I'm not sure why. I'm sure it'll come. Hopefully I'm still around when it does. But yeah, needs to happen.
Is 9 pounds right now about on target for you?
Yeah. 9 pounds right on track. Like I said, I'll get down, try and get 60, 59 tonight, and then wake up and do the rest in the morning. So, yeah.
When you look at Justin Gaethje, I feel like because of his style, the crazy way he comes in, and the insane pressure he puts on people, like having him on your record with a win over him, it's almost like winning a belt in itself. You know? Alvarez do it, Poirier do it, and that's about it. Do you look at that? Do you even think about that, or is he just another name on the docket?
No, but he's a fun name. He's like my buddy, you know, and what a solid dude, man. His family, his dad, you know, I was talking about that in the car here. I just saw his dad in the parking lot and talked to him, and it's like, man, if you have a good like family and like good parents, like you're usually a good kid, man. Like if I can like shake your dad's hand, look him in the eye, you know, and we're like, yeah, let's go get some beer Saturday night. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, yeah. So, but he's just a cool dude. But his style is insane, right? He comes leaving it all on the line, which is going to make for one hell of a fight, man. It's going to be awesome.
Is this a little bit similar to the Tony Ferguson fight in that you just got a guy who's just going to come at you?
For sure, man. It's except for I'm a lot more friendly with Justin, you know. Not that I wouldn't share a beer with Tony, but I just never had that like alliance with him. So
I don't know if you. I know between these two fights, you did the thing at the ranch with all the youngsters.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit and tell us what that experience was like for you?
Man, it was so cool. We did like a youth kids camp, you know, just trying to introduce wrestling to these kids, but more importantly, the messages and the letters and texts I got from all the kids and their family, like, man, you guys, they talk about it all the time. They made friends for life. They're still in contact with all those kids. I wanted 14, but we ended up with 33. Big difference, man. It was a lot. It was like every day I was like, man, I'm a go guy, and kids are like super go. But it was fun, man. Like teaching them to shoot and archery and playing games and wrestling, and man, it was a hell of an adventure. And I plan on doing 3 next year. So yeah, the BMF Kids Camp. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Just trying to teach these kids. Because if I could rewind and redo life again and go to high school, I could tell you, like, man, I know being like the smart kid and learning everything is not like the cool thing to do, but man, I sometimes wish I paid a little more attention in math class. And, you know, like it's tough and do every sport, you know, because I get the lifestyle where I'm still doing sports, but you see a lot of these dads and a lot of these parents where it's like, man, when high school's over, college is over, they're kind of, it's done. And I tell these kids that, like, man, there's so much. You have all your youth and life, like, do it all, man. Do everything. When they give you the option to play a sport or go do this, man, go do it. Go do it. And it was fun talking to them, working with them, just seeing all their personalities and everyone. It was a lot of fun, man.
Do you tell them what BMF stands for?
They know. They know.
Speaking of adventures, I saw you went up to Whistler for some bike riding earlier this week. What was that like?
It was unbelievable. I couldn't come all the way out here and not ride one of the greatest mountains in the world, man. So I went up and ripped it. And, of course, I went down the good stuff. So it was like Disneyland for kids. For adults, kids.
Like tone down the fight week craziness, jumping out of planes and doing all that stuff. Is that?
It's lack of energy is what it is. Like the older I get, the harder it is to make 55. You know, so it's like I just like, man, I want to. By the time I get to the airplane, do I have the energy to jump out? I don't know. You know, so it's like. It's the last couple of days of camp are tough, so that's why I did it the earlier week. So
did Lando Venata give you any suggestions? I know he's been up here a couple times, and he really likes it up here.
Oh yeah, that's my buddy, man. Me and Lando, we hang out a lot.
You got a skydiving license, I saw that.
Yeah. I haven't jumped with Lando yet, but I'm sure it'll happen for sure. I told him I want to get like a big aircraft and cut the top of a car and have us roll out of the car and be in a car and then shoot out of the top of it. So that'll be fun. That's probably what him and I will do.
Cowboy, just a couple here. You know, watching how you're working with these kids and your own son, it seems like you're really putting an emphasis on just living life and getting out there and doing things. What's something you think that a lot of kids are growing up without right now?
Fathers. A lot of kids are growing up without fathers. And I don't mean that like maybe their dad's there, but he's not there. You know what I mean? Like maybe go out and play catch with your kid, man. Teach him to do it. Like my son, he's not going to know what a Nintendo is. Like, no way. There's too much stuff to go out here and do. Too much playing on the ranch to be had, man. Just trying to teach these kids to build and play and just enjoy life, man. That's what it's all about to me, you know. Be a good dad, be a good person, you know. So I don't know.
What were your thoughts on Justin's comments about Conor McGregor as a dad?
Oh, I don't listen to your guys' stuff, so everyone asks me about fights. There's so much like things I got going on in my life that I don't sit there and listen or watch the video. So
last one here. You've been super respectful and friendly to Justin, and he has had a lot of respect for you as a competitor. But when asked about getting gears together, he's been kind of dismissive.
Maybe he's got to shut. Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure how his brain works or whatever. But I'm sure like he might have to turn the friend side off and think I need to go in there. And I have no idea, man. I can't speak for Justin, but I see him. I'll shake his hand. What's up, brother? Hang out. It is what it is to me.
Just listening to you right now, you seem to have a lot of perspective right now. Do you have any advice for Justin Gaethje for just his future, his career, what you know of him?
Oh man, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, man. So you see a lot of guys come up fast, and just put the time and put the energy. Don't let all this hype and everything change who you are, man. That's the only thing. Don't paint yourself into a corner ever. So just enjoy it. This journey to me is fun. I love all this. This is so cool. Like one day you're not going to want to talk to me anymore, and right now you're here, so I enjoy it. Hopefully my words someday will pass on to somebody else, but man, it's so cool. So yeah, don't rush anything. Don't say anything stupid that'll get you in trouble. I say a lot of stupid things that get me in trouble, so I'm learning to change that now.
Cowboy, you mentioned like how exhausting fight weeks are, making weight and everything. I imagine that's one of the reasons why you don't do workouts anymore. But is there a special occasion that would get you to hit the pads ahead of fight night again?
Doubt it. Doubt it. It's not even like a real workout, so I don't, and like to me it's like so like superficial, like getting up there like, you guys want to see me kick and punch? Hey, Saturday night I'm doing a lot of it, right? So plus I'd rather just shake all their hands and take pictures with them, man. To me, that's a lot more meaningful to them. I get to shake everyone's hand, say hey. So I don't know.
You mentioned yesterday if you do beat Justin, I mean it makes sense. The winner of Khabib and Tony, but does it worry you at all that someone, and we probably can figure out who might cut the line in that case?
Do you think he comes back though? I mean, damn, it's been a lot of talk, a lot of years. I don't know. Who knows? So to me, like chasing that, it's just like not even worth it to me anymore. Like, man, are you gonna come back and shit or get off the pot, bro? So but yeah, so other than that, yeah, there's no one else.
You mentioned before the fight with Tony that if you'd won and you didn't get the title shot, you would have been pretty upset and would have had to have a conversation. If Tony gets passed over, 12-fight winning streak,
man,
would you be?
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Like, give the dude his dues. But I thought it was announced. No, am I wrong? Oh, okay. No, that would.
Dana said if he accepts the fight, if not, then maybe go to Conor.
Wow, that would be that'd be tough for Tony to swallow. Wow. No, he deserves it for sure.
Last question, guys.
If you could, I mean, you want to fight Khabib, that fight's been scheduled a few times, never came through, but now you've also got the loss to Tony. If you could pick out of the two of them, do you want to get that win?
Oh, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter to me, man. Either way, we'll meet again, both sides, so it doesn't matter. Man, I love fighting, and I don't know if people understand that enough. Like Saturday night, there's not very many places on the world I'd rather be. This is what I live and breathe and love to my core. So I'll fight anybody. Like those words to me are like true to who I am. And I don't know, man. When I don't love it anymore, that's the day I'll call Dana. Like I really will. I won't. If I take a fight and halfway through the camp, I'm like, man, I'm just not feeling it. I'll just call Dane like, hey man, this one isn't for me. I got to take some time. I got to maybe stop, maybe not. I don't know. But right now, I love all of it. So there's no stopping. I'm rolling, I'm rocking, and I'm having fun. And losing sucks, winning's fun, but the whole journey to me is what it's all about. So, yeah, Saturday night, tune in, man. The Cowboys go out there, have fucking fun, doing what he loves. Win or lose, man, I'm putting it on the line for every one of you, and really it's for myself. I'm just going out there to fucking do what I love, man.
Cool. We'll end it there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That was actually from Simon.
How you doing, guys? Let me turn this off. Make sure it's on. All right.
Has that happened to you? Have you had your phone go off during the
Huh?
Have you had your phone go off before during the
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, right now, at this time, the week of the fight, yeah, always people text and we got a lot of love, you know. Feel very special.
Well, obviously we spoke to you yesterday, but just a day close to the fight, what are the emotions like, you know, as you get closer and closer to getting into that cage?
This is the best part, man. You know, the best worst part. You know, it's almost done with the weight cut. You know, today we start cutting the weight, and I mean, for me it's exciting. You know, because I know that, especially now the weigh-ins in the morning. I know that tomorrow by this time I'll be eating and getting ready for the fight, and you know, as of right now, usually you think like you keep going in scale, you don't even think about the fighting too much, you know.
What does your weight cut look like? How much are you cutting weight these days?
Right now it's nice, you know, it's nice, but I'm cutting like 15 pounds, 15 in a week. Yeah, right now I'm like maybe 12, 13 pounds over.
Do you ever see a point in your career where you'll just think, oh, screw the weight cut and move up to heavyweight?
You know, I thought about it for a while. I was walking around way too heavy, you know, but I managed my diet off camp and feel much better in the light heavyweight division. I think it disciplined me more. You know, I get more discipline on the diet, on the focus on training, and you know, heavyweight's not something that I'm thinking right now. But hey, if the opportunity comes, it's a good opportunity. I'll jump in. I don't.
Do you see your old foe Anthony Rumble Johnson is coming back, but he's coming back at heavyweight?
Yeah, he's big. He's big right now. Doubt he can make it 205 again. He looks huge.
Your opponent Nikita has talked about how you guys actually have pretty similar MMA experience. I think you have 6 more fights than him, but you started competing professionally 10 years before he did. How does that time experience factor into the fight? Are you the real veteran here?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, Nikita, he's like, you know, this style of fight that he have. I like it. You know, he comes aggressive, and he open up for a lot of things. You know, he open up for a lot of shots, a lot of punches, and those are the kind of guys that, you know, it's my kind of guy. You know, I just go over there and for sure that's what I do. You know, he have no decision, and in my career, I only have like, I think 4 decisions, and I feel pretty excited about that.
I saw on your Twitter you retweeted a stat by the UFC that you both have 4 submissions in the UFC. Is there any part of you that wants to get one ahead by tapping him out?
Yeah, no doubt. You know, I mean, submissions, and I think, the most finish, I think, tied with John Jones right now for the record. So, for the most finish in light heavyweight, you know. And feel happy about that, because a long time ago, Chuck was always telling me, hey, you wanna be popular, you wanna excite the fans, you want people to like you, go over there and finish fights. Because I think we just watch, I'm not gonna name it, and I'm not gonna say any name, because long in the past, but like we watch a boring fight, and I was like, oh my God, this fight is horrible, the title fight is horrible, And he's like, hey man, you wanna be popular, you wanna make make money and get excited fans, go over there and finish fights. And now I'm like, close to hold the record, the most finish in my weight class, and that feels pretty good.
You've mentioned Chuck quite a few times, and I remember when you made your way into the UFC, among the more knowledgeable fans, an incredible record. You're an exciting fighter, but maybe not so popular stateside. How important has Chuck been to your UFC career?
Chuck was the guy that I start with. I start with train with him. That's why I become professional. I still look at him, the way he training, the way his head was, the way he confidence in the week of the fight, and all of that. All of that was help because he's not a guy that talks. Sit down and talks a lot. I'm way more than that. With my students, I talk way too much, but Chuck is just don't say too much. But me, I was observing. I observed the way he react, the way he eat, the way he, everything. So I learned a lot from him because at that time, was the biggest name. He was the biggest thing in UFC. Him and John, and learning from those guys was great.
Glover, you're higher ranked than Nikita. What do you feel like you gained from beating him on Saturday?
Gain experience, beating him in a good running for sure. Like a knockout or submission is gonna, get me in a third winning streak this year. Hopefully, get to top 5 in the next fight.
How much longer do you feel like you have to fight in your career? What other goals do you have left before you're done?
Man, I love this fight stuff. My gym is going well. I don't have expensive lifestyle. I'm very good doing it with my gym and the things that I do outside. But I'm fighting. I really love this thing. I really love to be there, the excitement, and of course ups and downs. Nobody loves to lose, but every time you win, man, it's a rush. It's amazing. It's amazing to be here this week. I enjoy this. So, to be honest, I don't know how long more I'm fighting, and until my body's still going, I feel good about it. But the day I still I'm not feeling like go training. This sucks. That's the time I'm gonna. But I'm enjoying too much. I guess I'm gonna be one of the guys that my coach is gonna have to step in and start and tell me hey man, it's time to call out, because I'm gonna keep fighting.
You mentioned you do have a couple of wins this year. I mean, what's been the key to success for you lately?
Discipline, discipline, hard work, but most discipline. I'm always a hard worker. I'm always in my career. I think I work harder than everybody. I'm hard worker, but I was doing way too long of a camp and injuries a lot, and 2017, 2018, I have an issue with my shoulder and my hip, so, but now I feel great. I feel great this year, coming in this year,
You said yesterday you do like seeing the middleweight names come up to the division. Do you think any of them have a shot against John Jones, though?
Well, they gotta go through us first, right? I mean, they gotta go through us first, and if they beat us, they jump in the light heavyweight division. It's kind of hey man, this is our little thing over here. This is our ocean, and they get a shot at John Jones, yeah, but they're not just gonna come in and fight John Jones, right? They gotta have to go through some of the top guys first,
Glover, do you consider John to be the pound for pound best fighter in the world? Because it changes all the time. Some people saying Khabib now. You fought John, so you know firsthand how good he is. Who do you think is the pound for pound best?
Man, I think John Jones is up there for sure. John Jones he's been, but after I saw Khabib last fight and Dusty Poirier, I saw that kid training. I saw how good he is and the way he dominated Dustin Poirier is in my mind is he's definitely the number one pound for pound. This is the way John Jones win more title defense and all of that, but John haven't dominate opponents the way Khabib has been, you know. Khabib is just like he looked like he had like way too much, you know what I mean? He's above, he's way above the guy. He's like 10 and the other people that fight him is 7.
All good? Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, appreciate it.
That was your question. That was your question.
Yeah. So let's put this over here, I guess. Tiramisu for Khabib? We were waiting for that one.
First one to say it.
Well, I didn't say it. He's my friend. So this is not like a good format, is it, you think?
How would you
That's up to you.
Would you rather do one-on-ones or scrums like this?
I think you're getting less out of people, aren't you, if they do this?
Yeah, but
Look at me like,
But you can change that. You control everything right now.
do I? Oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
but for the fighter on cutting weight and stuff.
Yeah, this is miserable for those guys, I bet. Looking at you guys like, fuck this. This is fine for me, I don't mind. I'm just saying. Seems a weird format.
Good to go?
Yeah, run away.
So, Todd, how have things been at Extreme Couture? Because you've been there for a while now, and I know you've been really immersed with the team and working with everyone. How's that been?
Great. Ray's got a bunch of incredible heavyweights, some great light heavyweights over there. It's a great group of guys, man. You couldn't ask for more. Eric's done a good job of turning that gym into a really incredible team. Back when I was there 10 years ago, it was like a group of mercenaries. You know, now it's a group of teammates. It's amazing.
And Misha Serkinov's on this card. Do you work with him a lot?
Yeah,
as a heavy guy?
Misha's a great. I love it. He's a big guy. Like, don't let him kid yourself. He's a very big physical guy. I know he's a 205er, but I mean, that dude's he's a beast.
He told us yesterday, does this virtual reality stuff for visualization? Are you into that at all? Or has he told you about that?
I'm not into virtual reality yet. It sounds like a cost I'm not really interested in taking on, but I just use my mind.
Yeah.
It's funny when you came in here, you're saying, oh, this is a good format. We don't really hear fighters talking about the best way to use the media time and stuff like that. When did you think you became aware of the issues we're having as the media?
Well, issues. You guys have trouble expressing. Like, you guys just crush fighters. Sadly, there's always a hit piece on somebody. Like, I don't know. That's not like this is not necessarily an issue. I just don't know if you're going to get the same. This looks like I already won, guys.
You mentioned the hit piece.
When you say hit piece, you say we crush fighters. I'm genuinely interested.
You guys don't build fighters up enough at all. You just don't. I'm sorry. I'm not talking to anybody directly. I just seen it throughout my career. This is the most prestigious sport in the world, guys. That's why you guys are into it. This is the most difficult sport in the world. This is not football. This is not NASCAR. I don't have a teammate that walks in there with me to go live and die that day. And you guys don't respect it enough, honestly, sometimes. Sorry. And if you're taking it personal, it's probably you. So.
Is there though a case that stood out, like for yourself? Was there somebody who went after you? You don't have to name.
Oh, there's been tons of guys that go after me. I'm an easy target though, right? Like, I've had a lot of hype. I'm a heavyweight. I'm exciting. I've had some high lows. You know, I've been here. I've been there. I'm an easy target. Yeah, I've seen some of that, but to me, it doesn't necessarily. I don't care as much. But it's more of like the public perception that you guys have, that you're scoping. It's your job to scope and explore these storylines and explore what really goes on in that sport. And man, I don't know if you guys love it enough. I don't know. I mean, we're out here getting brain damage, and you guys are like, he sucks. It's like, does he? He's fighting the best in the world. Everyone that's in the UFC is called the Ultimate Fighting Championships. Whether or not there's a belt on the line, the BMF belt, or whatever it may be, we're all champions. We all have risen to this level, and I think guys deserve more respect. I'm not talking about me. I've had a great experience with the media for the most part. Like, I've been pushed to the front. I've had incredible opportunities that maybe I didn't earn sometimes. That's fine, but there's other guys. There's across the board. Yeah, it is what it is, though, right? I mean, that's up to you guys.
How does that differ though from the NFL? Like you always see reporters talk about this team's O-line isn't very good, and all of these kind of things. And
That's X's and O's. This is not X's and O's. This is fighting. It's a lot different. And I don't know that maybe you guys, some of you guys may not have the full understanding of martial arts. I don't know. It's a different. It's not a sport. It's fighting.
Do you think it's our negativity, because obviously we always talk about how the fans are very negative, especially
Yeah.
on social media. Do you think it's our negativity that drives that, or do you think perhaps it's...
Well, it's both. It's clickbait. It's clickbait. Whatever you can, and I understand. I get it. Like, this is a money-driven sport. I'm doing this for money. You're doing this for money. At the end of the day, like, maybe our passions, but we got to eat. So, I mean, it's not a personal attack necessarily. I think Brendan Schaub is the one that said it recently. I saw on like a clip. He's just like, you guys, we've lost a little bit of the prestige of the Pride era. Like, these guys were on a pedestal for a reason because they deserve to be there. And like, it's not the same anymore now. We just like, he loses, he's shit. It's like, well, what about the 21 fights before that? Or like, however that may play out, I don't know. Like, it's just, to me, this is the hardest sport. I can't imagine a more difficult task for a man or a woman. And this is the most prestigious sport there is, like, in my opinion, and it's not expressed enough. That was kind of what my attack might have been. And I was just frustrated. I'd done like 4 interviews. I was tired. I needed to go to bed. I needed a nap.
Without getting too deep into it, do you not think that maybe that's just a cultural shift in general in society that people...
Well, we're right. So the Western culture shift of like, we love to build these stars and crush them. I understand that, but it's still up to you guys to keep I think, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's our job. I don't know. I don't know how we do that as fighters. I don't think fighters really shit on each other so much unless they're just trying to get publicity to get a fight. And even then, after you watch them the moment they're done, they're like, oh, this guy's great. So it's like, he pushed me to the limit. But it's kind of irrelevant to me. I just had I was grumpy and tired. I needed a nap. I went and took a nap afterwards.
Todd,
Saying that you're in Vancouver, and Canadians are known as being polite.
I love Canada.
Yeah.
No, I have tons of Canadian friends that are coming out to the fight.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. I'm paying Canadian taxes this weekend. I'm a Canadian,
Yeah.
as far as I can tell. You guys are getting as much as the U.S. It seems like, damn. You guys are getting it. But no, yeah, I love it up here. I think I'm a big fan of Canada.
Have you gotten outside of Richmond and gone into Vancouver and seen some of the sites or anything?
No, not yet, but I've been in Canada. I've been to Toronto. I have a pretty good friend base up in Canada. Like, I would say some of the majority of my friends.
Why do you think that is in particular up in
I'm
Canada?
from a small town. I have values. Canadians have really good values.
Okay.
Probably.
And kind of on that note with the media, like, do you just not read any of the interviews, any of the things because of that, because you're just expecting a lot of negativity?
Yeah, I don't really.
Same thing with social media. You're kind of just not on that a lot, just to.
I play around on like Instagram. It's fun. I'm bored.
Because you get some of that too on social media with a lot of negativity as well.
Yeah, and that's it's like you nailed it. It's a cultural thing. I wasn't necessarily attacking, but it's like there is a lack of prestige now within our sport. And we're on ESPN now. Like we've broke through in a sense, right? So now more than ever, we need that prestige built back up. It's like these guys are putting their lives on the line. Like, look at the older fighters. Look what's going on.
I completely agree with you, but then if you take ESPN, you've got people like Stephen A. Smith just shouting and screaming and putting everyone down.
Yeah, but everybody knows that about him. Because like that's his job.
Is there any part of this that you mentioned?
Doesn't make it okay.
I agree.
You mentioned the money-making industry. I think we're seeing a shift back towards sort of titles being given out on merit. But do you think the UFC has contributed to any of that with matchmaking, maybe not giving the number one contender the shot?
I can't even get into that. I don't know enough about like how things are being played. I don't know who votes for the top 10. Mm-hmm. Do you know?
Yes, and it's.
How do they pick those people? How do they pick the judges right now? Like, I mean, again, how many of you guys are blue belt level in jiu-jitsu? How many of you guys are seeing a setup? And this is not it's not like, I'm a fan too, guys. So let me say but I'm just saying like we have such ways to go for education. There's things I still have to learn. it's just going to take years, you know. But we're just at the beginning. But being at the beginning of this ESPN and like all this, I just feel like if anything that needs to get across to these fans is the prestige and like the reality of what's really going on, the truth of the sport, and like what's really good, what's really being put on the line. And every fan respects that. I know that. That's why they're watching it, you know. But again, it does have that pro wrestling feel. So,
Todd, I actually want to pick up on a comment you made earlier, because you're not the first one to say this, that there's a difference between sport and fighting. How do you make that difference?
This is sport fighting. This is as close as we can get. But at the end of the day, in a sport, I'm trying to score a touchdown. I'm trying to score a basket. I'm trying to inflict as much pain on my opponent for him to either quit or physically not be able to continue. That's not a sport. That's a spectacle, maybe. It's a fight. It's just flat out a fight with a couple rules to make it a gentleman's agreement, so where the public can be like, oh yeah, it's a sport. We can get behind this brain damage.
For all the talk of the media stuff, I mean, you do have a fight coming up with Jeff Hughes. He got married last weekend. I mean, what are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
I haven't thought much about him. I mean, I'm aware of his skill set. I'm aware of his legacy run. I'm aware of his UFC run. I've watched and seen him as an opponent. He's my opponent. That's my thoughts. I'm gonna go out there and fight.
Did it feel like this day would maybe never come with all the time you've been through the injuries, the money stuff, everything else? Did you ever consider walking away?
I never considered walking away. I told Joe Silva, I said, Joe, I'm going to be training every day. You can ask the promoter, you can ask the reporters and stuff that have been in the gym. I'm there. I've still been around the sport. I've not left. It's just a matter of doing what I could do within my bubble. You know, that's all. There were concerns that maybe I wouldn't get back to the UFC, of course. But this is where I want to be. This is the premier of the sport, you know. Of course I had all those fears, but I didn't think that I would walk away from the sport. No, I love the sport. Like
What inspires you to keep pushing through and keep coming back?
Addiction. It's a drug. I don't know. I spent a lot of time thinking about that at a period of time when I was post-fight, couldn't get anybody to really support the idea of me coming back for, you know, with the current situation I was under. It's like, well, why do I want to do this so bad? And it's a drug, I guess. I don't. It's sad as it. Like, I don't know how else, but I do. I love it. I love martial arts. I love fighting. It's a competition. Is purest though is kind of a drug though in a sense. You know, it's addicting.
How's the UFC heavyweight division changed since you last fought?
It's deeper. Mick's done a really good job. He's built it up. They're signing guys as best they can. They're trying to build guys. They're taking that young talent and they're trying to get them to where they can be successful and be that next premier heavyweight. I think it's much deeper than people realize, but it's the heavyweight division, so it's just a different sport almost. It's not a different sport, but it's a different style. You're going to get different. It's a different type of fight.
What do you suggest? I mean, if you were in our shoes right now and you were standing behind these cameras, what would you do that we don't do?
I would build up the fighters.
How so?
I would never shit on a fighter. Anybody that walks out there and risks their life for your entertainment, because that's what's going on. Whether you want to like ignore the realities of it, I would be thankful to them. I would, you know, you're why I'm here, I'm why you're here, right? There's this mutual, like, I need you, you need me. I'm not a reporter, I don't have that skill set, and I think there's a lot of really great reporters out there. There's nothing, again, the attack, I was grumpy, it's just like a frustration that I've seen. This is the most prestigious sport in the world, and it needs to be presented that way, and there's no other way to present it. Winners and losers, one thing's gonna happen that night. One guy's gonna win and one guy's gonna lose, regardless of how skill level, and not always the best guy wins, and not always the best guy loses. Like, I just think it's a martial arts, there needs to be more of a martial arts take on it, more of a pure take on it maybe, less of a clickbaity type of the situation. And again, I'm not really scouring the internet the way I was, but I still see just guys get just crapped on. I'm like, why would you speak about, like, yeah, he lost a fight. Big deal, he lost a fight to another guy that's incredible. That's why we're watching the sport, because me and Jeff are fighting because you guys don't know who's going to win, right? That's why we're fighting. Yeah. You guys might think I'm better, you might think he's better, but at the end of the day, we don't know. That's why we got to go out there and do it. And with other sports, it's a lot easier to bet on them, I'm sure.
Todd, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Ryan McDonald's a bantamweight fighter on the prelims, and he said he got into MMA because he saw you and never backed down. What do you make of that when you hear that? I mean, that's pretty incredible to see that you're the reason he's in MMA.
It's really cool. It's weird that it's attached to a movie. You know, like, you want to be. I want to be a martial artist. I want that feel. It's amazing. I'm glad that he's involved. He's living out his dream. I'm proud of him for taking the chances, and if it took a move to do that, it's great. I'm sure Bloodsport didn't get me far from getting involved in this stuff either. So, I'm thankful that he appreciated that. I guess I don't know. I'm fumbling here.
No, but you're talking about positivity. I mean, that's kind of a thing.
Yeah,
too,
that's
right?
awesome.
He saw you and he's like, yeah, that really made me want to.
I'm glad I had a positive. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad he's out here living his dream. I don't think I'm the full take on that. I think his coaches, his friends, his family are the real.
You brought your name up out of nowhere. I'll just mention that. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
That's awesome.
Yeah, there you go.
You said you are a fan of the sport. I mean, we got a pretty fantastic main event. A lot of people are calling it potential fight of the night, fight of the year type of thing. Do you have a pick in that fight?
I mean, I watched Gaethje train the first walk in the gym. I got so he's got a special place in my heart. Cowboy has a special place in my heart. No, I don't have a pick. I mean, Gaethje's going in there with Pink Eye. Like, Jesus, what a guy. But I don't think Pink Eye phases that guy. But who knows? I don't have a pick. No, I don't like to make picks on fights, to be honest. Like, especially when they're two of my buddies.
Are they both kind of like fighters? Do you know what I mean? They're just the ones willing to go out there and risk it all every single time.
Yeah, I mean, those are the guys we got a pedestal. I mean, they're up there for a reason. They're amazing fighters. The loser doesn't lose Saturday night, in my opinion. Like, they just put on a great, entertaining show.
We were talking about bringing the martial arts back into this and prestige. Is that something that's unique to this sport? Like, I mean, we have other combat sports like boxing and stuff, but is it because of where this sport's come from that we need to get that prestige back?
I think so, yeah. I think so. And again, it's the reality of what we're doing. I think you guys look at this like a video game sometimes, and it's not. Look at our older fighters, guys. Look what's going on.
Why do you think that gets lost on people? Is it just
It's on behind a camera lens. I put my phone up right now, all of a sudden I'm not here either. I'm watching you guys through my phone. It's pretty simple. I would think, I mean, it's easy to detach yourself. You don't want to attach yourself to it. The moment you do, then you have to it's tough to, I don't like to face reality every day. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm into that.
Do you think it would almost be I mean, this is obviously now going to sound completely hypothetical, but is it almost beneficial to have a friend who fights that you watch and you see the genuine consequences of it? Because that point about we look it through a lens and disassociate ourselves I think that's a really good point. But I've had friends who fight and stuff, and when you see it and you're there,
It changes their perspective almost immediately. Yeah, I've seen some guys even my close friends, they went out to my fight, saw me lose, and their whole perception of the sport changed. They're just like, oh, they're sick. They're like, I had no idea. It's like, yeah, this is it.
you don't enjoy it.
Yeah. I guess I could help, but I mean, again, it's just. I didn't mean to be overly critical. I don't think you guys have an easy job. I don't. You guys have been a big part of why we're at ESPN. I don't know who, but I mean, you guys are pushing the sport. You guys are taking chances. You guys are investing in something that necessarily wasn't probably investing in you in the beginning either. It wasn't necessarily I just think that Pride era of prestige, that K1 era of prestige, is where we should have our sport, is where we should always have it in our mind, and we should build towards that. Or at some point, it's just going to be like backyard fighting again.
Do you see that happening?
Huh?
Do you see that happening?
Do I see what happening?
What you just said?
What did I just say?
And we get back to that.
That it's going to become like Pride again and,
Could it?
yeah.
That's entirely up to the media and the UFC and the fans. I could see that, yeah, for sure.
What do you think people need to do more of?
Respect the fighters, respect the sacrifice. I just know people, it's a 24/7 job. These guys are giving up their lives for this. You'll see guys not having the best home life. You'll see guys not having a lot just to make this entertainment for you. I don't know. I mean, I don't have an answer for you. I don't. I think we all, as a group, it should be a common aim. I feel in a sense. We all love the sport. If we want to keep it and get it the respect it deserves, we have to present it that way, maybe. And that comes to it's our responsibility too as the fighters, how we talk about one another, but for the most part, I haven't seen too many fighters really be too. I mean, we're living it too, so it's a little different.
Is it an oversaturation issue? I mean, there's 600 fighters as opposed to one pay-per-view a month.
Yeah, there's only 600 fighters in the UFC. That's it. That's not many, is it?
No, not really, but when you compare it to
600 guys. There's only 600 guys in the UFC right now. Damn. That's hard to get there then, isn't it?
That's the best.
Those are the best guys, perceivably the best guys in all of the world, 600 of us. There's how many in the heavyweight division? No way, there's 80 or 60, maybe 40, 50. So there's 40 or 50 of us in the heavyweight division. That's wild. Like, damn, those guys are amazing then, right? Like, they're the best in the world. I don't think it's an oversaturation issue. I think there's only 600 of us. That's not a lot. I mean, how many are there in the NFL? Those guys are gods.
Yeah.
Those guys are gods. They play in the NFL, right? Look at the respect they get on the streets. They get more respect than anybody. Like, they walk down the, oh, you're in the NFL. Oh, my God. Why isn't it like that in the UFC? Why do people look at me like, oh, you're a fighter? What's the...
I think it is to a degree, don't you? Like, if you're walking around, people are really thankful. Like, if you're walking around the city, people see you, they're probably very thankful that you're here. And
More so in person than, yeah, probably. More so than like a media perspective or social media perspective. But there's only 600 of us, man. That's not a lot. That's really tough to get here. And every one of those guys, if they go 0-5 or if they go 5-0, they got my respect. I think, like, good job. You got it here. You made the sacrifices. You put in the time. It's not an easy task. 600, that's not a lot, no? You acted like it's over.
Think of it from in the world perspective. What I'm comparing it to is pride, where there were 40 guys. And that's why when...
Yeah, but there's only like 40 guys in my division.
Yeah.
You said, you know, like maybe 50? There's only 50 of us. That's nuts. It's hard to find a fight to get them to match up, right? You know, you'll have guys sit out. It takes like, it's tough.
Yeah, take months, yeah.
Yeah, it takes months sometimes. You got to call somebody.
There, guys.
Oh,
Thanks,
thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I recognize your face. I didn't even say it. I was sitting with PG. No, you did great. Thank
I got the jet engine, unfortunately. It's, I respect it. No, I know. That's the one downside. Yeah, I was looking at it, I was like, you gotta rate it. But yeah, compared to like first PC. I'm this way. Clearly we are. Yeah, Gerald walks me a little bit. Shitting on me right now.
some on your recovery? Do a little bit of your career, doing more of a part of it, anything else to do with Oh, okay. The answer is fully.
No, I was just wondering what you should not say. But it just, it.
Oh, my God. Our guys got a 10 $10 speaker for you?
Yeah.
So figure out this stuff. Hopefully. Hopefully. Is that okay? We can take a photo of the. Oh, yeah, totally. Just look in front of the camera. Antonio, I know the last one didn't go the way that you wanted, man, but what did you learn from that fight and that loss?
Yeah, we always learn in the losses, you know. And I changed a lot of things. I know the past year was pretty hard for me. I had an injury, I need surgery, you know, so I stayed for like more than a year out. And I think I kind of like I lose the rhythm, you know, in fighting. So, and I kind of got so emotional for being back. And I see the referee made some mistakes, and I remember like the headbutt and my opponent grabbed the cage, so I got a little bit upset, and that make me like spend a lot of unnecessary energy, you know. I kind of lose the focus, and I know I cannot do that anymore. And beside that, I changed some little details, you know. My like I don't change my game. I just make some things better, you know, and I feeling really good now.
And you get this is kind of a classic matchup here with your eye Holly, a striker versus grappler. Is it that simple? I mean,
That's simple. Yeah, yeah. Rai is a great striker. You know, he's so fast and strong. And I'm a BJJ world champion. You know, I'm improving a lot on my wrestling. So yeah, definitely is gonna be that.
Does it mean a lot to be able to, hand him his first submission loss? He's lost before, but never by submission.
Let's see. Maybe we got another his first submission. You know, I hope so.
Does that mean anything to you though? Does that matter or not?
Not really. It was like Jack Marshman. If you see Jack Marshman, he never got submitted before, and I was the first one. So yeah, would be good for me to be the first one to submit him.
He switched camps before this fight. He's at Fortis MMA now. What does that tell you about a guy who's been around as long as he has, and I think he's 36 or something? Does it tell you that maybe he's just looking for an answer? Is that a smart move on his
No,
behalf?
I don't think it's an answer. You know, we always looking to improve. You know, try to improve our game, trying to learn new stuff. So I think he wants to add some things on his game. You know, I know a little bit about this camp in Dallas. This guy really works with your mind. You know, like making tough. So maybe that's what he's looking for.
I know you've been working with Dean Thomas, guys at ATT. Have you been able to mimic his style at all? How comfortable are you if it stays on the feet?
I feel really good. You know, I started training in a boxing gym with Junior. You know, I train a lot with him. So he teach me in the hardest way, you know, beat me up. So I feel really comfortable, man. It's just because I feel so comfortable in the grappling that I always trying to bring to my area, you know what I mean? Because it's very comfortable to me to you know, when we're in the floor, when we like in the clinch, you know, I feel really comfortable. But I think I'm doing really great in the striking. If you see the Ultimate Fighter, I had 2 knockouts in the heavyweight, so yeah, I feel good.
After that last fight, you talked about not having a full camp because you were still recovering. Did you ever think about postponing that fight or pulling out of it?
Not really. I was really looking forward to fight again, you know. I was like more than a year, man. I was getting crazy, you know. So I couldn't train for a little bit for like 4 months or no, 5 months, 6 months. You know, after that I came to train, and I got so happy once I, you know, step the gym and start training, that I was just crazy to get into the octagon and fight again, you know. So yeah, I never thought about pulling out of that.
Antonio, you mentioned the Ultimate Fighter, which you said you won as a heavyweight, and then you fought once at light heavyweight now before going down to middleweight. So many middleweights are moving up.
Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself having to go back up to 205 in the future?
Yeah, it's an option, you know. Not now. I think I'm doing okay in 185. Everybody hate dying, you know, and losing the weight. But I never been a heavyweight. The Ultimate Fighter was just opportunity that I had, you know, because I was even lighter than I am right now. Now I walk around like 215. In the Ultimate Fighter, I was like 209. If you see at the finals, I was 209. So I'm even heavier now. 205 is an option, you know, but not now. I think that I have a lot to do on the 185 yet.
Well, I was going to say, because so many people are moving up, where do you think a win over Uriah puts you in the rankings with suddenly all these spots open?
Yeah, I see a lot of guys are going up, you know, like Jacare is going up now, Luke went up, Weidman is going up, so I don't know what's going to happen in the ranking, you know. Rise one position in front of me, I'm 13, he's 12, so after these guys went up, maybe 2 or 3 in front. Depends what's going to happen in the fight too, you know, because 185 is changing a lot, right? A lot of new guys come in, you know, old guys are, you know, going up or getting outside the rankings. So I don't really know. These rankings kind of confused to me, actually.
How is the weight cut going for this fight?
Man, it's doing good. I was talking to Dean Thomas, you know, long time I don't feel so good like that, you know. I think the last time I feel that good was in Rio de Janeiro against Eric Spicely. You know, I feel really good. The cut was easy. You know, now I have a chef with me, you know, cooking to me and stuff, and I still with the UFC PI help me out with that. So it's been way easier than it used to.
And you said in an interview with Farah Hanoun that you really admire Uriah as an opponent. Is it difficult to, you know, take that switch off and, you know, fight someone that you do like? Is that difficult for you at all?
It's our job, you know. For sure, I prefer to fight somebody I
don't like.
It's bad. It's not that I don't like, that I don't really know. You know what I mean? We're not like close friends, but we know each other, respect each other, you know, and we gotta do our jobs. You know, I saw him yesterday at the lobby. Actually, I was getting out of the workout rooms, and I talked to him, and he was, as always, you know, nice to me, respectful, you know. And
wasn't awkward, right? Everything was.
No, it wasn't awkward,
Sometimes
you know.
like that,
Yeah. He's a great person, you know, a great guy, great fighter. I think we're gonna pull out a great show.
Antonio, I know American Top Team is like the super gym where there's, you know, a lot of kind of camps within the camp and everything, but I'm curious from your perspective, like Colby Covington is antagonizing so many people. At first it was like the Brazilian fighters, now it's Jorge Masvidal, then it's Dustin Poirier. At what point does the situation become like untenable with him that there's just so much like drama within the gym that maybe it's not working out anymore?
Man, I don't know. He kind of like fighting with everybody, you know. He talks about everybody. I don't really have a problem with him. I'm a Brazilian. He talks shit about Brazil, but I don't really care, you know. I know about my country. I know about our problems and what we have, the good things we have in our country. I think this is bad for him because he's not gonna find much like training partners and stuff, you know. He and Masvidal used to be a great friends. Now looks like they're not anymore. And he got some beef with Poirier too. I don't know, man. I don't really know what's happened because what he said about Dustin was just was this week, right? So I was already here, so I don't know what's happening over there, and I don't really want to know now. You know what I mean? But I think it's bad for him. You know, I think we should be a team. We should train together. Everybody, you know, respect each other. That's what we should do. And he's not doing that. He's the only one he's the only one who's gonna lose, right?
Do you think he believes in what he's saying, or is he just doing it for the attention?
A little bit of both, you know. I think it's a little bit of both. I don't really know. We train together, you know. Don Lambert asked me to help him out for the Demian Maia, you know, fight, and I helped him out. He's nice to me, you know. To be honest, he was always nice to me, but we never really close, you know.
Were you surprised by Paulo Costa's performance against Yoel Romero?
Man, he did great. A lot of guys said Romero won. I don't know, you know, could be both sides. You know, I think Paulo Costa won the first round. Romero won the third, and the second was pretty close. So, yeah, it was great. You know, I don't know. He deserved it. You know, he got the number one, and he beat the number one. So he probably gonna fight for the belt. The next one fight for the belt, right?
How do you like in Vancouver?
Man, I love it. I love it. My first time in Canada. A lot of people tell me good things about Canada, and it's true. You know, looks like a little bit with Australia too. I don't know. I have this feeling. You know what I mean? And I think it's great. I love Australia. I lived there for a little bit when I was like 20, 22, and I love it.
Yeah, a lot of them come down here for work, actually. So that's why there's a lot here. The Australians, you were saying.
Oh, there's a lot of Australia. I see there's a lot of Chinese people here.
Yes.
A lot, man. Yeah, Australia is like that too. Yeah.
That's cool.
I hope I can have some Chinese food after fight. Italian, right? Yeah, he's the chef that I said. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Guys, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh, got it.
Thank you very
Oh,
much.
thank you guys. I appreciate that.
Sorry about the I didn't know what it was. Thank you.
It's just an important fight for you here, and just does this feel like it had more weight on your shoulders coming into this one, or can you not put it into that perspective?
I'm trying not to. I'm just trying to treat it like just another fight. And I did obviously a lot of work, prepared for it really, really hard, and yeah, I'm just gonna do my thing. I'm not trying to think about all the pressure and I should do this, I should do that, or what of this, what of that. Just go in and just play MMA.
And has there been moments where you maybe let that overcome you, whether it was the positive side when you're on the winning streak to start, or the negative side when things maybe weren't going your way?
Sometimes you do overthink, sometimes you try new things, sometimes you try to change your training. Changes always happen, and that's just part of the game. You're trying to get better. You're trying to learn. You're trying to experiment. If you don't do that, it'll be hard to progress, and that's what I've been trying to do, and that's what I'm trying to do now.
Go ahead.
Going back to that last fight, I mean, is it hard to find a silver lining in a short loss like that?
Yeah, it's that one was a difficult loss because we didn't even fight. It was just everything happened so quick, and yeah, just got dazed, and that was it. It's really hard to kind of think about it, but it's part of the game. It's part of the game, and the harder you fall, you want to make sure you bounce right back up.
So do you try to learn from it, or is it something you have to wipe it from your your
I'm
memory?
trying to learn from it as well. Yeah, I'm trying to learn from it. I'm trying to be more careful, more alert, more relaxed, faster, and maybe more cautious as well.
Misha, you're a Toronto guy. What kind of support, Canadian support, are you expecting out here in Vancouver? Do you have friends, family, people out here as well?
Yeah, actually, I do have some friends and family in Vancouver. I competed here, back in the day, in my judo days. I competed here also. I had one MMA fight here before as well. I do have some friends, some close friends here as well. So yeah, I expect to be a really nice night with a lot of great people in the crowd.
Misha, you touched upon your wife's battle with breast cancer a little bit yesterday. I was wondering if you could elaborate more on sort of how this experience has been for her, how you've been able to, support her, during this time.
Yeah, it's been really, really rough. We're fairly really young, and to hear those kind of news, in our age, is kind of it's not just kind of disappointing, but it's kind of scary at the same time, because we're healthy. We don't drink, we don't smoke, and it just shows you that it can happen to anyone really. And yeah, it's a nasty thing. We went through a really kind of weird, nasty time, but luckily, you know, she was able to beat it, and she's cancer free now. And yeah, we just enjoy living.
Did her fight sort of put, you know, your literal fighting career, kind of the challenges you face in perspective? Did it make you kind of, you know, think about the stuff that you have to deal with and in comparison to that kind of, you know, health struggle?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it's hard to, you know, when you have big things in your life happen and you have to deal with, you know, not one thing but maybe two different things. It definitely adds the pressure. But I'm just happy that that kind of time is over.
When you look at your opponent here, I mean, is his record any sort of motivation, being the one to play spoiler?
I mean, he's a great record, but as we know in MMA, anything can happen. And my main thing is not to concentrate on his record, but concentrate on my skill, and make sure that my skill be more superior than his. That's my main thing that I worry about.
And we have a pretty thrilling main event planned. I don't know if you're a fan of either guy, but what's your pick for the headliner?
You know, it's a very interesting fight. I'm actually, you know, I've been with Cowboy Cerrone on the same kind of fighting card for, you know, I think 4 times. This is 4th time, or I believe so. So yeah, we always chat, you know, we always give each other kind of props. So, you know, I don't really know his opponent much, so I'm going to be cheering for Cowboy.
Cowboy's been around forever. He ever give you any advice?
You know, we didn't really train much together because he's mainly in California. Sometimes he is in Vegas, but I didn't get the chance yet. But this time he's actually staying on my floor in a hotel. We chatted and he said that, yeah, like next time he's in Vegas, we'll definitely link up and do some training.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Здравствуйте. Hello, everybody. Yeah.
Peter, how do you feel this run is different for you than the first UFC stint you had, just in terms of, you know, where you are mentally, physically as a fighter?
Никита, как ты себя чувствуешь этот раз, физически и психологически?
Отлично себя чувствую. Спасибо, что поинтересовались.
I feel great. Thank you that you're asking me.
Мы провели отличный тренировочный лагерь, подготовились во всех аспектах и готовы показать одно из лучших выступлений.
The camp was really great. We did our best, and we are ready to show a great fight.
Nikita, I think someone asked you yesterday what you thought of Vancouver, but you'd only been here like an hour when that question happened. Now that you've had a day and a bit, how are you liking Vancouver?
One more time. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. He came in yesterday and we asked him about Vancouver, but he just landed. Now, today, having been in Vancouver, how's he liking it?
Ты только вчера прибыл. Как тебе Ванкувер? Как ты себя чувствуешь?
На самом деле, после вчерашнего интервью мы сразу отправились в отель, поэтому Ванкувер я наблюдал только из окна автобуса, но он мне напомнил мне большую Москву.
In general, like yesterday, we just arrived and we went to our hotel to take a rest. And I just saw like downtown from the window of the bus. And in general, it looked like Moscow.
Oh, as we compare it to Moscow, I'll show you now. Nikita, I want to get, it's funny you mentioned Moscow, because I want to get your opinion on Khabib Nurmagomedov. He just beat Dustin Poirier, of course. Now, he and Fedor are two of the greatest fighters of all time. How do you think they compare to each other and their star power in Russia?
Никита, хочу тебя спросить про Хабиба. Твое мнение, он недавно выиграл бой с Дастином Порье. Что ты можешь сказать о нем?
Хабиб великолепный боец. Он
Khabib is a great fighter.
Действительно, эра Федора Емельяненко прошла, и на смену ему появился новый боец, который, ну, я считаю, он по праву может разделять первое место в рейтинге pound for pound с Джоном Джонсом.
As you see, great time of Fedor Emelianenko already finished, and Khabib can show like new era of fight. Yeah.
Has Khabib passed Fedor as the greatest fighter to ever come out of Russia?
Khabib превзошел Федора как великий боец уже.
Я считаю, их нельзя сравнивать. Федор как первооткрыватель ММА для России и в целом мире. Хабиб же выступает в новую эру, когда все бойцы выглядят абсолютно иначе, поэтому для меня это несопоставимо.
I think we can compare like Fedor and Khabib because Fedor was just like number one guy who just started like in MMA and the UFC. He was like this explorer of and Khabib now in different time, and he's a great fighter also.
Last one for me, I just want to ask, and what do you think of Fedor's sort of last few fights with Bellator, his last run here?
Что ты думаешь про Федора, его последние бои в Bellator?
Я считаю, что в Федоре все еще горит огонь.
I still think Fedor is still a good fighter, and he has a burn inside of him.
Но ему уже нечего доказывать, и, как по мне, его приход в Bellator больше связан с тем, чтобы продвинуть новое поколение своих воспитанников в мировой ММА.
But in general, he don't need to improve himself anymore because all done. He just create a new generation of fighters, and yeah.
You're still young. Do you want to fight as long as he has?
Ты еще молодой. Ты хочешь драться до такого возраста, как Емельяненко?
Я хочу драться сейчас, и я не могу знать, что будет после этого моего боя, поэтому я так далеко не смотрю.
I want to fight right now, and I can't look for the future. I don't know what happened this fight or next fight. Just want to fight now.
Nikita, you're 10-2 now in your recent run. I mean, do you feel like you're getting the respect you deserve from the media, from the fan base?
У тебя сейчас 10-2, и как ты считаешь, достаточно ли внимания от медиа, от твоих фанов, уважения?
Я считаю, что меня достаточно большое количество людей поддерживает, и я не могу оценивать количество, которое могло бы быть.
I think I have a good support from my fans, and I don't know what it's supposed to be in a different situation.
Но меня не сильно заботит внимание медиа к моей персоне, поэтому меня все устраивает.
But I don't care about media attraction to me. and I feel good.
Where do you think a win over Glover puts you in the light heavyweight division? Because we've seen a lot of fighters now come in from other divisions, get title shots in 3 fights.
Can you repeat one more, please?
Where do you think a win over Glover puts you in the light heavyweight division?
Как ты считаешь, Гловер спустился в ниже вес? One more, sorry.
What do you think it'll do for him in the division? Where do you think it would leave him if he beats Glover?
Что ты думаешь, что с ним будет? What happened with Glover if he beats him?
If he beats Glover, yeah.
Что будет дальше с Гловером, когда ты выиграешь этот бой? Какая дальнейшая его карьера?
Я считаю, что Гловер все еще может составлять здравую конкуренцию, что показывают его предыдущие бои с молодыми бойцами. Поэтому дай бог, чтобы он мог выступать до 50 лет.
I think he still can give a good like he can be a good competitor for everybody, and I wish him like strong health that he still can continue till 50.
And one more from me. There's been a lot of talk about John Jones going to heavyweight. You used to fight at heavyweight. How do you think John Jones would do?
Много разговоров про Джон Джонса, и как ты себя чувствуешь в heavyweight?
Я понял. Я считаю, Джон Джонс может себя также проявить очень ярко в супертяжелом весе, но вряд ли его будут интересовать рейтинговые бои. Скорее, это бои с чемпионом, как по мне. Мне же вполне комфортно в полутяжелом весе. Кто знает, что будет в дальнейшем, но пока мне хорошо в этой категории.
I think John Jones feel really good himself in this weight division. I don't know what happened like in the future, but for me, I feel good like in my weight category, and we'll see what happened in the future.
That's all.
That's it.
Thanks, Nikita.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Спасибо.
A lot of familiar faces here.
Justin, how's the eye today?
Great. Yeah, man, way better. Making forward progress. I'm good to go.
What exactly was the issue? Was it just an infection?
Yeah, it was. But I mean, it ran its course. I mean, I'm a week removed right now, so I'm great, man. I've seen every doctor that said you're good to go, and once I hear that, I'm good to go.
I imagine once you have a fight booked, you're a hard man to keep from getting in that cage. When you have something like that,
I don't make that decision. Trevor makes that decision, and Trevor always has that on in front of his mind. So once he said I'm good, I'm golden, and I'm going.
You said you pretty much went straight from the plane to the open workouts yesterday. Was there like a travel delay or something, or what happened there?
Yeah.
That you just got in?
Yeah. I don't know. Just doing a day late.
Does that throw off like the fight week routine a little bit?
No, my weight's on point. I'm exactly where I was last 5 fights, 10 fights, so it's perfect.
What did Trevor say to you when you brought him the news of the eye infection?
Oh, he was good, man. He was good. He said, we're going to work through it. If we can't do it, we can't do it. We can. Doctor said we're good. We're good.
You and Cowboy are cutting an interesting contrast this week. You were saying that he's your enemy until the weekend, but he's refusing to go there. He really thinks you're really cool, wants to have another beer with your dad.
Yeah.
Is making the opponent your enemy something you do every fight, or is it just because you kind of...
The man across from me is trying to take everything I've worked for many, many, many years. That's why. I won't let him take it from me. Doesn't matter if he's my friend, my brother. I used to wrestle my twin brother. My mom said, don't do this move, and I did it right away.
You were on the Magic Hour podcast, and you told an interesting story about you were helping someone out, and when the paramedics came, they said, oh, do you have a military background? Because of just the way, your calm demeanor. Is that the same demeanor you have in the cage as well?
Yeah, it is. It is. That was a tragic story. That was 13 days before I fought James Vick. I was going to practice. There was a wreck. There was a car in front of me stopped. Thank God I moved to the side because I wasn't going to stop, and the big truck behind me hit him. the driver of the big truck crushed his chest, and he was dead on impact. And I pulled him out, gave him CPR, and then I had to do a bunch of interviews, and then I had to go fight James Vick. So, yeah, that was super tragic, but it's it's kind of like my best friend killed himself when I was a junior in high school. I was the last one to see him. So I mean, there's things like that where can really prepare you for obstacles in life, and you can't let things tear you down because and then it just becomes like a mudslide. You can't stop the negativity. So I just really like to surround myself with positive people, positive thoughts. I listen to reggae because they never boast, they never talk shit about somebody, they never talk about money. All they do is talk about positive attitude and having a relationship with God, and that's a very simple life.
You have a good attitude in general. Corey Sandhagen gave you a lot of credit, saying you're very in the gym. You give a lot of good advice and things like that. Is that something you're getting used to now, just being sort of a teacher to some of the younger fighters as well?
I mean, I think I've always possessed that skill. I went to school. I got a human services degree. It was for social work. I mean, that was, and social work is listening. You don't talk. You don't advise. You listen. You listen to people's problems. You don't try to intervene or steer a conversation. You're steering a conversation. You're trying to keep a conversation going, but it's really about listening and trying to understand what you're hearing. And so that's a huge part of this. That's a huge part of helping people of any. Again, it makes life simple.
When you wanted to get into social work, is that something you wanted to be a carer? You wanted to be in therapy? What exactly?
I wanted to work with at-risk youth. That was my main goal. My best friend in college was, he came from very opposite circumstances as I did. I have, I'm so blessed with the parents that I was blessed with, and he came from the opposite. But it just took one or two positive influences in his life to steer him in the right direction. And now he works in the inner city in Denver. Most of his kids don't speak English. He's a high school wrestling coach, and he takes these kids to Washington, D.C. on trips, and he's such a good influence and role model to these guys. And, there's no need for him to, there's no reason he should be that, but because one or two positive influences in his life. So if I could talk to 100 and affect one, really, I think I'm doing what I was set to do with this avenue that I was given. Yes, it's a violent sport. Yes, I'm trying to beat somebody up, but I'm really trying to inspire the youth and inspire people that don't believe in themselves or maybe might question their work ethic. It's, again, keep it simple. Only worry about the things you can control, which is super minimal. Pick 5 things that you can't control and then just worry about that. And if something else starts creeping in, then you can say, shut up. You can say shut up internally. You can say whatever you want, but stop that negativity and move it in the right direction.
Do you see yourself and Cowboy as kind of cut from the same cloth? Because he said a lot of similar things when he was in here earlier. As an example, he said, when you have good parents like you do, you usually have a good kid. He's tried to be inspirational. He's been working with kids lately. Do you kind of see you and him as quite similar?
We're both warriors, so I see that as similarity. I've been, we're acquaintances. I've been around him for a total of maybe, 2 months in my life. And so it's not like I know the guy personally. I don't know who he is. I don't know how he is. I don't know what he is. I know he's a warrior. I know he's one of the best that's ever done this. And I'm excited to face that challenge and face the adversity that he brings. No one's ever put him to sleep. No one's ever put Edson Barboza to sleep. So these are things that I am here for, to create that legacy. I might, obviously I'm 3-2 right now. You guys, you could talk all the shit you want about that. I fought the who's who, the toughest guys. There's guys. If I get a title shot, it'll only be because I went through the hardest guys. Most guys that get title shots don't have to do that.
Are you any more excited fighting Cowboy given the accolades who he is in the sport, or is this kind of just another fight the way you look at it?
I'm super. It's great, man. Like I said, I'm here to create a legacy, and Cowboy is the right man for that right now. He's number 4 in the world right now. That's not a mistake. He's been around. He's fought the most. He's finished the most. He's got the most bonuses. So of course, that's what I'm here for.
With all of those accolades that Don Cerrone has, would you be happy having his career at the end of the day?
No, I'm 20. I have 20 wins and 17 knockouts. That cannot be matched.
Justin, he said, and his team is saying that the game plan or the approach to this fight is to fight fire with fire. Is that a mistake going in there against someone like you?
I think it's the mindset that you have to come in with. What else is there? You can't stop it, so you have to match it.
Your gym does a lot of cross-training with elevation. How much of a benefit has that been, getting to work with those other guys over there?
That's my team. That's where I train at. I have a private gym where I do my boxing and wrestling with my coaches, but that's the team I work out with when I do team workouts. I spar with them twice a week. I wrestle with them. We grapple, and we hang out, play video games, and play freaking.
I hear Austin Hubbard's quite the gamer. He's on this card as well.
I don't play the video games with them. I play like, what is it called? A little smack ball. What is that thing? Not hack on the trampoline. Smash ball? Yeah, but Corey Sandhagen is a G at that. Spike ball. Corey Sandhagen is a G at that, so I've been working my ass off to try to beat him.
You ever seen the people who do it with like fire? Like the ball that's on fire?
Nah.
Is that a little too extreme for you?
No.
You mentioned yesterday Cerrone called you Homer Simpson, but you also mentioned how you tightened your game up, and I think your last two fights really showing. Do you think...
Last two fights.
Yeah, last two fights. Do you think eventually that criticism of the Homer Simpson thing is going to go away?
I want it to stick around as long as possible. I want these guys to think they're fighting a fool and a dummy. I have... My timing is different. They will never be able to replicate it in a gym. They will never be able to replicate the pressure that I'm going to put on them. They will never be able to replicate the heart rate that they're going to have to contain when they fight me for as long as they last or I last. So those things I really rely on, and it's really the output. My output has dropped about 85% if you look at it, and it's really my coach told me forever. He said just try a little bit less and you will find more success. And it just was. It's like golf. It's like the harder you try, the worse you do. It doesn't make sense to me because my whole life in wrestling was the harder you work, the better you did. But once I lost 2 times in a row, I was able to go back to the drawing board and really take the criticism and try to make adjustments. And luckily, I have the 2018 Coach of the Year, the Coach of the Century. So he's able, and I'm coachable. Wrestlers are coachable. I've been wrestling since I was 4, so I listen to everything he says.
Justin, over here, we've asked you about your legacy of 4, but a lot. What does that mean to you? Is it titles won, money made, opponents beaten? What does it mean to you?
I mean, I think if you ask me at different times in my career, the answer will be different. Right now, it's to, obviously I want to win the world title. That's what brings you notoriety as the best in the world. I'm not here. I'm going to leave and quit this when I don't believe I can be the best in the world, or I don't have a chance. So that's first and foremost what's going to create my legacy. But the way I represent myself, the way I treat people, the way the people from the UFC see me, the way the fans see me, the way that I get to interact with those people. Like I said, at any time in my career you ask me, my answer will be different. But it will always surround positivity. And that's, because what we do is very brutal. It's but man, I know how much happiness it brings people, even though it's violence, even though it's chaotic. I know how proud my parents are. I know how proud everybody that's ever met me in my life can be or will be whenever I, represent myself like I want to and win a world title.
Well, sometimes in this business, it's hard to avoid negativity. I mean, we asked yesterday about the stuff going on with Conor McGregor. You had to reply to him. I don't think he's replied yet. I mean, are you kind of ready to have to get into a war of words with him at some point?
No, I wouldn't. I don't. So I picked 5 things: preparation, attitude, effort, nutrition, and then never let another man control my thoughts or emotions. And a war of words will not happen. It's not even possible. If he wants to speak truth, then I'm okay with that, and I'll have that conversation.
Do you think it is the truth when he tweets out, or do you think he's trying to get his name in the news cycle?
I don't know. You tell me. Does he really want to? I mean, of course, I'm sure he thinks he deserves a rematch in Moscow, but who's gonna get behind that?
He mentioned you as a potential opponent. Were you aware of that?
No. I got Donald Cerrone. That's all I care about right now. And then the winner of Khabib and Tony.
He's
a retired man. He's not fighting no more.
On to the winner of Khabib and Tony. I know you want to be the guy to test Khabib, and you think you're the best chance of beating him. But is there any interest in Tony Ferguson? Because I think when you talk about guys who put a pressure on, put a pace on, it's you and him. So just from a testing yourself point,
I'm a fan of MMA, and I would love to watch that fight when it's over.
So do you have a preference out of the two, or is it just?
I want to fight the winner.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is your first time fighting outside the States, I believe. Was that by design or circumstance?
Circumstance. Everything in my life is circumstance. I went to school for human services, social work. I was never in a street fight before I fought my first fight. I didn't step into a gym till after my 5th fight, till I almost got knocked out. I had no idea if I could fight, and I won 25 fights in a row, and I was fighting Eddie Alvarez on a pay-per-view. That's circumstance.
Justin, just
I know you mentioned
the eye thing, almost put this fight in jeopardy. But when it was coming together, was this timeline, worked out for you? I think you said,
perfect.
You won't take a fight.
It was 9 weeks. I would have liked 2 extra weeks, but I've learned to not let myself go in between fights. I'm getting older, and I've found that it does not get easier. So I'm doing the right things even when I'm not in camp.
So that 8-week deadlines, there's some flexibility there as well.
No, I'm not going before 8 weeks. I mean, I'll fight. If I can go in there and get a knockout in 1 minute, then I'll fight in 2 weeks because I'm in shape and I'm already training and, there's no break. I didn't take no damage. My coach probably wouldn't like that because no matter what, you take damage in practice. In order to get ready for something that I'm about to ensue, you have to put yourself through obstacles, adversity. You'd be a fool to go in there and think it's going to be daisies and rainbows because that's not what we're doing here. If I wanted to do that, I would have, stuck with social work.
You mentioned you have 5 wars left.
And that's not daisies or rainbows either. That's very, very tormenting on your emotions, but this is similar.
Yeah, I know you said you have 5 wars left in you. If you were to make a bet, is that number still at 5 when you leave, or is it 4?
I haven't had a war yet. Oh, who knows? Dude, I don't know. I don't know. I don't plan. I don't predict. I don't wish. I just go in there and I stand on hard work, and I stand on work ethic, and I stand on what I represent, and I stand on the fact that since I was 4, I've been working every single day. I've never taken a shortcut. That's 26 years right now, and so I've been working harder than most of these guys for 20 years, for 18 years. A lot of these guys didn't do what I did before I came here. They weren't Division I All-American wrestlers. They didn't go through a Division I program. That alone will kill you.
Justin, it seems like people keep underestimating Cerrone until he does what Cowboy Cerrone does. What is it about his game that people seem to overlook?
I don't know. Those guys are fools. Whoever is doing that, yeah. He's great, man. He's so awesome. He knocks people out. He gets finished if he doesn't knock people out. He's great at submissions. He's got a great ground game, and he's constantly putting pressure on you. You underestimate him because he starts slow. People out there, people that are watching me through these cameras, they always want to criticize us because they've never stepped in our shoes. They would not be willing to step in my shoes or his shoes. Like I said, they want to be relevant, and they just have to say one word and they feel relevant, and I'm okay with that. I'm here to make people excited. I want people to hate me. I want people to love me. You need both to be successful and to be a superstar in this sport. That is ultimately my goal, to provide for my family, to give my parents opportunities to let them retire early. My dad just retired, so I know that he's not going to be making as much money as he used to. I would love to help him. He's helped me my whole life. He's gone in debt countless times, countless amount of money to get me to where I'm at right now. And they've been at every single fight along the way.
You were asked earlier if you would be satisfied if you had Cowboy's career at the end of the day, and you responded with, you want to be the most exciting fighter of all these knockouts. If, when all was said and done, you were the most exciting fighter, but you hadn't gotten the belt, would you be a little...
Cowboy ain't got a belt either, so why would I trade with him? I'll trade with... I wouldn't trade my life for anybody's life, to be honest with you.
But just overall, would you be dissatisfied if you didn't have the belt at the end of the day, or does it matter as long as you're the most exciting?
I will try my hardest, and I will be satisfied with that. I will not take a shortcut. I won't stray from... I won't run because I'm scared of it. I'll face my fears consistently, constantly. Every single time that it's in front of me, I'm going to jump. And that's what I've trained myself to do.
Justin, you've never left a UFC card without a performance bonus, but got some stiff competition this time, lots of finishers. Do you think that streak might be in jeopardy?
No. If I get finished early, I don't get one, but I'm the main event. It's the best chance to get a bonus. I'm 5 out of 6 for main, or it's
6 out of 5.
5 out of 6 now after this fight for main events. Unheard of, The guys that I faced, unheard of. I'm not going to fight Dennis Seaver and get a title shot, I'll tell you that.
You and Trevor at the open workouts, having a lot of fun. I see you bantering back and forth, playing to the crowd. What is it like to have that sort of close bond with the coach?
It's everything. It's really who your life, again, circumstances. Who am I going to surround myself with? A positive guy like that, coach of the year like that, and then the ability to always have respect and still get to have a friendship with him is, every coach I've ever had, I've never been able to have. It's been hard to have that because you really got to, For one, I was a kid, respect your elders. I always tried to do that. And so I couldn't even look at myself as on the same level as them as a friend or a person. They're always a hero or, a role model. That's who they were. And he's the same thing, but, we're closer in age. And so it's easier to, we go snowboarding every Thursday during winter. We go camping. We, shoot slingshots at moving targets in the gym. In between workouts, we play hacky sack for fun to warm up. So yeah, it's cool. Makes life a little easier.
Are moving targets other fighters or?
No, we had slingshots with throwing foam. See who can hit it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I'd fuck them all up too.
Jimmy, you said the weight cuts are so easy that you would ever drop down one more division, or is this 205 for life?
No. Yeah. Well, I don't understand why people cut so many weight. You see all these middleweights coming up to light heavyweight and having success. You see all the welterweights going up to middleweight and having major success. I don't see the point in it. When I say their weight cuts are easy, I mean they're easy for compared to most people. I still have to cut a bit of weight. I am a big guy. A lot of people think I'm small for light heavyweight until they get a hold of me and try and grapple with me, and then they go, oh, hang on a second, you're actually a decent size light heavyweight. So, no, I don't ever plan to move down to middleweight if I ever lose a few fights in a row and it's because the guys are bigger than me, I might think about it, but yeah, no.
Would you want to match up with any of those guys coming up, Weidman, Rockhold, Jacare?
I'll fight anyone, I don't care. Anyone after this fight, after I beat Misha Serkinov, anyone with a number next to their name is fair game.
Did Whitaker give you any advice heading into this fight?
Not really. We just trained alongside each other. Any little bit of advice he gave me was greatly appreciated, and I took it on. But he's not right now my game plan or anything. I still have Sam for that, even though he's out of action. I still have Sam to write my game plans, and they could tell me here and there, you got to keep your hand up here or whatever. But it was more just training, getting the work done, and yeah.
Rob's always said that his training camps and the way they train down there is not like anyone else, and that they train harder, and people just don't appreciate that. Having now trained there, is it as intense as he says?
Yeah, yep. And I really like their structure, the way they're structured. I think I was training just as hard in Melbourne, but the way they had everything laid out was just a little bit different, and I was able to just grab what they're doing and sort of bring it back to Melbourne.
Would you never do a full-time switch over there just to train him because he's a champion?
No, I would go up there for 4 weeks of a prep, probably, but what we have in Melbourne is just as good anywhere. We have great wrestling, we have great jiu-jitsu, we have great striking. The thing with Melbourne is you just have to travel a little bit to get everything, but we have everything. Not to say that anyone's better. I would definitely be doing another trip out there for camps because all those boys are just work crazy hard, and I just felt like I was a really good fit. But yeah, Melbourne is my home, and that's where I'm going to stay.
How do you see him versus Adesanya going?
I just don't think Israel really knows what Rob's bringing to the table. It's all right to watch Rob on film, but until you get in there, you just don't realise how quick he is and how crafty. That being said, they're the two best middleweights in the world, in my opinion. I would back Israel over any other middleweight. I actually really like Israel. I'm a big fan. But, Rob's my guy, and he's been one of my favourite fighters since I've first seen him. So I know firsthand how good he is as well.
I feel like with Rob, there's this sort of like quiet intensity that he seems like a really nice sort of chill, almost like kind of normal dude. And then I imagine when he's in there actually working, it's a different animal.
It's like a switch. He can go from joking to and then he clicks his fingers and that's business. And I really like that, and I thought it was pretty cool to train along someone like that.
I know you said you don't mind the travel, but do you enjoy the opportunity to come into a fighter's home country and kind of play spoiler, maybe?
Yeah. I've pretty much had all my fights at home, and everyone's sort of come to me. But if you want the big dogs, you got to go to their territory and get them. I don't think it's not like, oh, I'm going to come here and shut everyone up. It's more like it's a challenge, and I love a challenge. Coming to someone's hometown and being the B-side per se is a pretty cool little challenge, and I'm up for it.
Have you seen him yet this week?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like the pressure's on him in this fight? It is in Canada, and he's coming off a losing streak.
No, I think if anything, he won't have as much pressure on him. He looks really relaxed. At the end of the day, I think it'll be the best Misha Serkinov there's been, and he can bring whatever he wants.
How do you see the fight unfolding on Saturday?
It's going to unfold how it unfolds, and nothing I can do can sort of change it. All I can do is just go in there with a good game plan and execute it. I believe that I can get him out of there early, but at the same time, I'm very well aware that that doesn't always happen, and I know that I can go 3 hard rounds. I know that I don't think he's got the power to put me away. I know that I have the power to put him away. So I just got to keep my defenses good and move around him a bit and put the lights out on him.
Jimmy, you said he looked calm. You seem pretty calm and even keeled here. And even when you fight sometimes, what does it take to kind of get your blood going?
I don't know. I love it. So I don't really give a shit.
Every fight you've had in the UFC has been against an older veteran, Paul Craig, Sam Alvarez, now Misha. The matchmaking, how do you think that says what the officials think about you as a prospect?
I think I go to the matchmakers and I just basically said I don't want easy fights. And I think they appreciate that. They normally come to me with 3 names and I pick the hardest one. And this time they just said, I said I want a ranked opponent. They said, all right, well, we've got Misha. I said, yeah, no problem, let's do it. I feel like I'm a very easy fighter to work with just because I just want to challenge myself.
As a young fighter, I know you mentioned the middleweights coming up and stuff. Is there any concern that when they do come up based on name value, they might kind of skip some opportunities that might otherwise, or sorry, take some opportunities that might otherwise go to you?
Whatever opportunity they take, they just build their name and then I'll take their name. So if they build their name by beating a light heavyweight, I'll beat them.
You seem positioned to be another one of these breakout stars at light heavyweight. From talking to your management, what are the UFC's expectations for you?
I'm just taking it one fight at a time. I don't think too far in the future. Obviously, I know I'll be ranked after this, and then I'm not in a rush, but I don't want to not fight. You know, I want to, like, if it was up to me, I'd fight 5 times a year. And when you do that, you climb up the ranks very quickly. And you know, I'm not in a rush, but I don't want to be stagnant either. I just want to keep going one fight at a time, and eventually that gets you to the top.
We've talked a lot about light heavyweight being thin for a long time. It seems like there's this renaissance of new talent, yourself, Johnny Walker, Dominic Reyes, Jan Blachowicz making a nice run. How does it feel to be part of this sort of new generation of fighters at 205?
It's really cool, man. Like, if I was in the position I am a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I would already be in the top 10. You had 2 good performances and they put you in the top 10 at light heavyweight. Now, it's a little bit more tricky. And it's sort of like a changing of the guard in a way. Like, a year ago, light heavyweight was considered the worst, well, second worst apart from heavyweight in the division, where now it's exciting. Like, from that top 5 to top 15, there's some guys that give them 6 months or give them a year, like, people are going to go, fuck, light heavyweight is stacked.
Killer main event on this card. Do you have a pick for Cerrone and Gaethje?
Cerrone, I've been, if you ask me on any other day who my favourite fighter is, it's Donald Cerrone. And I really like Gaethje too. And I know everyone says, oh, Gaethje's got the style to beat Cowboy, but Cowboy, if Cowboy kicks anyone in the head, they're going to sleep. So I in my heart, I say Cowboy just because I'm a massive fanboy, and you know, Cowboy is one of my favourites. So is Gaethje. I really like Gaethje's style and his personality. But I think just because of watching him when I first got into the sport and stuff, I have to say Cowboy. And I'm just going on my heart. I can't place an educated bet on that.
All good?
Hey, Jimmy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm not here to fuck spiders, by the way.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
It's an Australian expression.
Is that it? That's exactly right.
No, it's
One more view?
Best for last.
That's a Canadian guy, too?
No. We got our one Canadian.
Misha, and then another Canadian guy?
Dave Shaw.
Oh, he's actually from Canada, very first guy. He's from Vancouver. Enjoying media day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah, so did he hear? work, but I guess they split it somewhere on that sign-in screen, and once your account is on, you can't switch the login. So that's stuck on the hotels. The ways. Yeah, like the surrounding. Yeah, we tried forgetting the network on the laptop, but it remembered us the login screen. Bold choice. Bold choice. What? Don't you be making like making way too much? This is true. This pretty easy when bring it. No, it's full. I wish it stopped that.
Leave early tomorrow morning. Basically, when the weather's like it is today, where it's raining, double your commute time. Especially trying to get, you have to go through the tunnel. I don't know where in Galway.
we go to that. Yeah, we're to Wasp.
Yeah. Pretty out there, man. That's a long drive.
Well, so 25 minutes.
Trying to get me back to downtown.
He's right behind. Promise. I'm just making it up.
Esther's crazy.
He's invisible.
Esther, that's Oscar.
Hold on.
Is that your drive straight out of that?
Oh, it's grown. Okay, cool.
Don't worry, I'm not an asshole today. But if you ask me a stupid question, I will be.
Never. Why are you here, you at?
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Can you step up a little to the mic, please? Thank you.
That's right. Yep. The big topic heading into this fight is that you're now training at Fortis MMA. What was that initial connection of you actually going down and checking out the gym and then deciding to stay there?
I don't think that's a big topic, man. I think that's just a topic. You know, I'm excited to do what I do. For every athlete, it's just a growing experience. You've seen a lot of people switch camps or whatever. For an athlete, it's more of just to get better. And I look at it as like a dance. If you're dancing with someone and it's fluent, then you guys can comprehend and then grow. So I tried it out, and it was a great experience. Just decided to jump on board.
Was that something where you went looking for that, or you just kind of happened to find it?
Didn't really look for anything. Like I said, I was in the neighborhood, and I was like, oh, what's this? But a friend of mine kind of invited me there. So when I went there and fell in love with the strength and conditioning program, I loved the way it worked on recovery at the same time as strengthening. It's probably one of my best weight cuts so far. I mean, I feel unbelievable. I'm already close to weight. And again, it goes back to that growing mentality.
You're always in extremely good shape going in there. So, like, what are the finer details, I guess, that they push you over the edge in some sort of way where you really like it and it really produces results with the strength and conditioning?
I mean, everyone is different. For me, it was just working on injuries. A lot of athletes have injuries. The last time I fought without an injury was when I fought Adam Sella. I mean, that was, 7 years ago? But my job is to be professional. I don't have any sick days like you guys. Oh, I have a cough, I gotta show up. So the warrior mentality is always to show up. But when I was there, just the fact that you worked on certain weak areas where I was finding out, well, I'm weak here. Well, that's not the reason. You're actually weak over here. So let's strengthen that. So that I fell in love with because my body's my tempo. And, when this shuts down, you can't really perform. So with that, and of course the training atmosphere at Fortis, we collaborate really well, and it was something to try. So I felt like, again, going back to that growing mentality.
Do you think that gym is getting its due for all their success that they're having right now?
Yeah, I definitely think they're, paying their dues. They work hard, you know. The only way you guys will ever understand unless you try it out. I suggest you go out there and see what it is. But a lot of gyms are always going to have their own thing. I mean, I don't know any other. I mean, I've trained at King's MMA before. I've worked with Kelvin. Me and Kelvin been best buds for a long time. That's definitely his home. I've been invited there plenty of times, and I always feel better when I'm in that, neck of the woods. I train, we beat each other up. So any gym is going to always carry that. It's just, again, going back to that dance routine. Do you guys mesh well? Do you feel comfortable? And there's no disrespect. My coach Clayton Hires, I've been working with him since the Tough Show. And what I love about him, he told me, because when I brought it up to him, he said that if there's someone else that can bring you further than I am or can make you feel a little better growing-wise, I'm all about it. You don't hear a lot of coaches saying that because a lot of coaches, they feel either disrespected, but it's all about the athlete at the end of the day. And whether or not they take it in a selfish way, I have to grow as an individual. At the end of the day, they can bring me to the cage, octagon, but I'm the one that's in there by myself. So whatever tools they're going to teach me to utilize, I have to be able to bring that out by myself.
I know Kelvin's your guy, and I know Izzy's a fight that you really want. What was your emotions like watching that fight that they had a few months ago?
To be honest, I couldn't watch it. I was nervous, He's the bro, little bro, big bro, whatever. He's the bro. And that's an awesome relationship we have together. We might have to fight one day, who knows? But it's something we would never be like, oh, screw you or whatever. We look at it as a competitive thing. And I remember one time we said to each other years ago, hey, if we, let's make a run for the belt, and whoever gets there first wins or whatever. He got the closest, but it's competition. In that field, it's competition. It's business, but it's also competition. Each one of those fighters, I personally believe, including myself, we're just there for glory, man. We're trying to leave a legacy.
You said coming into this that you kind of lost the fire, lost the hunger. Was there something that led to that? Had you become complacent? Were you dissatisfied with the business side of things? What led to that?
A lot of things, people who backstab you. I've had managers who screwed me over. I've had individuals that, when you're in the limelight, you're somebody. But when you lose a fight, what do they say? You're as good as your last fight. And you watch every fight, even like the Super Bowl. No one remembers who lose, right? It's like, oh, those guys won. No one gives a crap about the one that loses. So in essence, it taught me to really surround myself with my confidants, I like to call it. And you'll differentiate your constituents, the people that are there temporarily. And me losing that fire, I'm one of those rare cases where if I'm not thrown in the pit with some wolves, I get bored. I like when my back's against the wall. It's a weird nature of mine, but when I'm in that uncomfortable realm, I seem to progress. I don't know why. I thought something was wrong with me, but we're all just different. There's something that makes every one of you guys tick. I don't know what that is, but it's up to everyone to figure it out. For me, when I have a challenge in front of me, and especially if someone says I can't do it, for some reason activate something. So coming up in the sport, I just felt like most of the fights I won, I didn't get. Like a lot of the fights that I've lost, I didn't want those fights. I didn't want them at all, but it was thrown at me, and I didn't get the right mindset to prepare myself, because the big part of the fight is the mindset. The physical attributes are good, but I didn't have that, so I just lost the interest. But when I saw a guy like Israel, I got excited because I understand his style. He has the anime nature, like I said before, and I feel like it creates that fun aspect. Yeah, belt comes with it, but I'm more intrigued of what could really happen.
You spoke to Kajan Johnson and I a while back about the work you've been doing in your own time, building mental fortitude, your mentality. How's that journey been?
Who did I speak to?
Kajan Johnson has a podcast about 6 months ago.
Oh, Cajun. Okay. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
You were putting a lot of time into self-reflecting and working on your mentality. How's that journey been?
That journey's been awesome. I think the best quote I've heard so far that I've always reiterated is, you have 2 chapters in your life. The second one you have 2 lives. The second one begins when you realize you have one. And I think for a lot of people, you get to a point where your want becomes a must. Like, do I want this? Do I need this? Or do I must have this? whether it's in career-wise, whether it's anything you do. So I'm always questioning myself where I'm like, well, what makes me want to do this, you know? Not every day you want to wake up and punch someone in the face. I've talked to people on the plane where, you're a fighter? Why would you do something like that? I'm like, it's fun. I get paid to punch people. You get to beat up your coworker and get paid for it. But for me personally, it's one of those journeys where I was taught, you know, when you reach the end, it's this glory. But I feel like the fights that I fought to even be here right now, that's the amazing part of it. You know, the fights that people don't see. No one knows what I'm going through. I'm cutting weight. No one goes through when I go home. No one knows that I have personal issues with families and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's not for you guys to see. All they see is the punching and the kicking and who wins and who's that. And I don't want to represent that side only. You know, I'm more than an athlete. I'm a human being. I have feelings. I feel bad when I punch you in the face. Yeah, I'm getting paid, but I feel bad about it. So for me, is to understand that side, the human nature, and of course, the I'm going to kill you. And I try to mesh that in. Because sometimes when I go out there, you know, I beat you up, I do feel a little bad. Because I'm a human being too. And you know, you got a family, you got a mom, you got a dad. So I'm still working on that because it's a continual growth as a human being.
You're right. You know, we spoke to Todd Duffy earlier, and he talked a lot about his issues with the media. I know you've spoken in the past about being like misrepresented or about how we portray things.
15, I figured you guys out.
Well, I was going to say, well, 15 fights in your UFC career. This is old hat now. What's your strategy for dealing with us?
Great question. So with the media, you know, it's what do they say? Any media is good media. You know, if you say something bad or something stupid, people are going to recognize you. Like, take Colby. Dude's talking out of his ass, but people still want to. He's like the villain everyone wants to see get his ass kicked. So regardless if you hate him or you love him, you're still going to watch him. Again, I don't represent that. I don't know how to be fake, or I guess that's a part of playing the game. I call it the counter effect. You know, you go out there, you talk some smack, and it creates that entertainment. We've seen Ali did it. I think Ali did it very authentically, but it's changing. The game is changing. The game is evolving, and everyone has to do what they have to get that prize money. It's not just going out there and being honorable anymore. Yeah, I'm here to fight for peace and all freedom. No one gives a fuck about that. If you go out there and say, you suck, fuck you, then yeah, all of a sudden it creates something. But at the same time, it's a struggle. And I know a lot of fighters that I've spoken to struggle with this because they're like, I'm not being represented the way I feel like I should. So now I have to portray something. And then people are like, yeah, man, do it, get paid. But that's not who I really am. I'm a martial artist, man. I don't want to go out there and be fake. That's not how I represent myself. I have people sending me messages saying, thank you for being yourself and being so inspirational. Where I'm like, I am? I didn't realize that. So you never know who's really watching you. But with the media, it is what it is. I've accepted. But what I can tell you that, you know, and I've heard Denzel Washington say it, you owe it to be honest. And a lot of people don't do that because it sells. It's like, we don't care if it hurts. Let's just get it out there. Get the story out. I understand that. It's something I have to live with. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be comfortable going to bed and say, you know what? I was myself, and I don't feel like I faked anything.
You saying MMA kind of has this weird balance, right, where half of it's a sport and you have athletes and competitors, and then the other half of it's all entertainment, a bit more pro wrestling, and that's kind of what we see here, right? You got the guys who are talking shit, get attention, and then you got guys like yourself who are like, me and Kelvin are best buddies, but it's a competition. Do you think that's what we're struggling with here, this dynamic of two sides fighting?
I think in the UFC, in many other entertainment sport, it doesn't even matter if you're black, white, yellow, pink. The only color that matters is green. Money talks, and you got to treat it like a business. In the beginning, you know, when you're young, I was there too. I was like, oh my God, I want to do this, la la la. But at the end of the day, if you're not playing your role, you're nothing. Take the prelims. Who really watches that shit? You know, you got to get to the big leagues. In one way, it's a motivating standpoint, but in the other, it's like discouraging. So I think you have to have that balance to be like, you know what? I got to get from point A to point B. I got to work my ass off, and I got to do what it takes.
With that being said, is there a line? Like, has Colby just gotten way too far in that direction, trying to find the money that he apparently wants for that?
I mean, if you look at it, is he getting what he wants? Look at Tony Ferguson. That dude deserved a title shot since day 5. But, you know, if something doesn't sell, you're not gonna give it to you. You gotta, like, I don't know. It sucks. It really does. So unless you're like hand favorite, hand picked, or you're special, blonde hair, blue eye, I don't know. then you ain't gonna really get the easy road. But who wants the easy road anyways, you know? I like the hard road.
Do you think we'll see a course correction at some point, or are guys like McGregor and Covington going to become more the norm, and we'll see guys like GSP become almost an anomaly?
That's a great question. I think GSP represented the sport the best way he could have. I mean, he walked out like a G, and you don't hear shit about him. Didn't have to talk shit, talk smack. He went out there, disassembled you, beat you up fashionably, spoke well. I mean, I'm surprised that guy didn't get as much credit as he can. But to a lot of folks, that's what? Boring. Anybody want to see that? Ah, you're too nice, bro. Talk some shit. I've had people tell me to talk some shit. I don't know what that road takes, but at the end of the day, I have to represent me. I'm entitled to that, and I can't let anyone take that away from me.
You're right. It's, I'm sorry, we almost neglected talking about your opponent, Antonio Carlos Jr. It's been a while since you've faced someone who's such a pure grappler. Maybe Rafael Natal, I don't know. Is that sort of refreshing for you, challenging? How do you view this matchup?
First off, Carlos is cool. We actually saw each other the other day in the lobby, gave each other a really long, weird hug. But we're buddies, and we just have to separate that. He even told me, hey man, let's just get this up. Yeah, let's just do it. It's your classic matchup, striker versus grappler. We know what he's gonna do. We know what I'm gonna do. It's just whoever goes out there and poses the will first.
If it makes you feel better, he said it wasn't weird.
I like Carlos. He's a cool guy.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, guys. Good job on not the dumb question, though.
We did it now.
Hey.
That's my last shot. Yeah.
That's a wrap.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, that was my line.